his own decisions. And I have made an executive decision to go live. We do it live. And there we go. All right, we are live. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, what's going on here? Delay ads during important insert ads. What is this new thing? I don't know the new thing. I don't know the new thing. I don't know. I can barely work the old thing. YouTube. God, I hate YouTube. I would like to just switch over to Rumble. I wish everybody would just go there. Do my live streams there. I had no problems with that live stream. Oh, that live stream. I just went smooth as silk. Smooth as silk. Okay. So, what's going on? Well, first up, little Joan had some nice watermelon. Yeah, little fact about Joan. She loves fruits. She loves apples and black diamonds. That's a big favorite. And watermelon probably is number 2 on that list. Yeah. So little Joan had some watermelon tonight. Very exciting. My exciting weekend took me to the Cherry Street Pier in Philadelphia, which I broke even. I expected to do well there. I gotta say, it was a bit, the crowd, I guess, wasn't my kind of crowd. They were a bit pretentious. They were there mostly for a photo thing. And, no offense, I'm not trying to diss them, but they seemed very, I don't know, there was a lot of hipsters there. And I was struggling to explain the Jersey Devil. A lot of them just didn't know. Then I went to Berwyn, PA, to the flea market there. I would say a good third of the people knew who the Jersey Devil was. So I met some folks from the Pines. Joan, do I have to move you already? Already you complain? All right. Joan will be right here. Just off camera, Joan. Okay? All right? I can't put you on the ground. Let's go over this again, Joan. See, I put you on the ground, and then you go wild in the front room. And then I have to get up, and I don't like, as you know, to get up and do things. Anyhow, that was my weekend. It wasn't particularly profitable. I made a little bit of money in Berwyn, but when I go out of state, it's harder for me to sell the Pineys, because I got to spend half my time explaining who the Jersey Devil is. Jesus, John. All right, I'll put you over here. I'm going to put you back on the seat. I'm not letting you down. No, I'm not making the same mistake I made week after week after week. Joan stays here. Okay? Joan stays here. So yeah, that was my weekend. The good news was I did finally confirm Chemung Diner next Saturday. Clint Miller is here. Good evening, Tony, Joan. Good evening, Clint Miller. Good evening. So I will be at the Chemung Diner in Chemung, New Jersey from 9 to 2 on Saturday. So that's good. The downside is I got jury duty. I guess not tomorrow because it's Labor Day. I'm doing jury duty Tuesday and all week unless I can get out of it somehow. So I hope I don't have a lot of jury duty. I don't think they make you go on Saturday, do you? Do you have to go on Saturday? I think you get the weekends off on jury. As long as I don't miss Chemung, because I have to eat. Anyhow, that's about it for me. We're going to get into it just a few minutes. God, Joan, you're like red hot. Red hot. It's like having a hot water bottle heater, a little hot water bottle heater on my arm here. So let's put you back in your seat. Can you go back in your seat? There you go. There you go. Will you sit nice? Oh, there you go. Good dog. Now, I'll tell you what. We'll distract you with a treat. How about that? I got to get her to sit here. Clint Miller, I'm buying a good friend Tuesday. Oh, I'm sorry. You're burying a good friend Tuesday. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. I'm sorry to hear that, Clint. I don't know what you want to tell me about that, but that's terrible. Sorry to hear that. Never easy. Never easy to do that. I'm getting at that age. I don't think anybody in my circle, of my age bracket has passed that was super close to me. With one exception, one of my comic book buddies passed. You might remember him. His name was Tommy Castillo, and he was artist for Batman. We kind of had a falling out a couple of years before he passed, but he was a good guy. I mean, he tried to be. Clint Miller, worse than jury duty? Yes. Yes, that would be worse than jury duty. Absolutely. Yeah, he passed in Florida. I couldn't go see him. It's weird. Like, you have friends and then you have falling out with them, and then they're dying or they're dead, and you kind of don't know. Well, should I go? Should I not go? Like, I didn't really know. I didn't go. I couldn't afford to go, really, but I felt bad. But he kind of did it to himself. I think he didn't really take care of himself too well, and it's a shame. I don't know if you want to talk about your friend Clint. I don't want to press, but yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Joan, no, I'm not letting you down. No. Here, do you want to get back under the blanket? Here, get back under the blanket. Go to sleep. Okay? All right. Well, moving on. We are going to JEC is here. Hi, hi, hi. We're going to hopefully cheer you up with a live stream. Joan is no help, as always. Talking about the box office. Clint Miller. She battled with liver cancer for 5 years. Wow. That's liver cancer. That sucks, man. That is amazing that she, fought it that long. I've known people who had cancer and relatives who passed. They just took one turn for the worst, and that was it. But that was years ago. Years ago when now the treatments are a little better. Anyhow, hopefully we can cheer you up. Get your mind off things, Clint. JEC is sorry for your loss. First up, The Equalizer 3 has opened. 34.5 million. Top of the box office. I don't think... Oh, it did have international release. Oh, it's saying 42 million here. I guess that's projected after Sunday. 68 million total. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Clint Miller says, thank you, JC. So, I don't know if you guys saw The Equalizer. I used to watch the original show. The original show was pretty good. Although the main character was much older. Less physically imposing. He was an old English dude. Denzel Washington's pretty good in the role. It's just not the same guy, but I think they could have just changed the name, quite frankly. I don't know why they don't just do that. He could have been like another associate, because it was like the original character was like an MI6 guy, I think. And then, they could have still called it The Equalizer. Clint Miller, Edward Woodward. Yes, pretty good actor. I went as the original Equalizer for Halloween in college. That's how old it was. Because I had an overcoat and I put a little gray on my temples, and I just kept saying, "I'm Robert McCall, the Equalizer." Clint Miller, Queen Latifah as the Equalizer. Ugh, that just no, that didn't work. Queen Latifah in any action thing just seems like a dumb idea. She's not an action star. I never thought she was a great actress, but if like you would put her in like SUV, Law and Order as one of the cops, I could have believed that. I could have seen that. Some of the cops are very heavy set. But as the Equalizer, no way. No way. No. No, I wouldn't watch that show. And it's so stupid to have so many Equalizers. Again, the name The Equalizer, you could use that with different characters. But whatever. Hollywood, they're not very creative. But I do like Denzel Washington. He seems good in this. I like how his character doesn't revel in the violence. He seems very tired of it, and wishes he couldn't do it, but he always has to do it. So I like that about his character. So it looks pretty good. I may go see it, or I may wait for video. I don't know. It looks pretty good. Number 2 is Barbie. Kind of a shocker, because Barbie's been out for 7 weeks. $1.3 billion. Ladies are still going to see this. I was swiping through on my dating apps, and I finally got a like, and I'm like, oh, who liked me? And I look, and the woman in the first picture, it's her in front of the Barbie movie poster dressed in pink, and I just was like, nah. Nah, I don't need that in my life. Nah. She looked so proud of herself going to see Barbie. I was just like, oh, God. I continue to swipe on women I have no chance with. But at least I like them. Anyhow, Barbie's still raking it in. Now, number 3, in the third week, is Blue Beetle, which is surprising. 7.2 million, drop of 40%, which I believe last week, didn't it drop more than that? Let's see. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, last week it dropped by 51%. This week it only drops by 40%. Interesting. Still going to be a big loser for Warner Brothers at 101 million. Amazingly, that's not enough to cover your cost of a movie these days. Amazingly. $101 million. Not enough money. Just not enough money. Which goes to show you Hollywood's just pissing it all away. I mean, this is the mentality of spending more money is better. And there are a lot of people who have that mentality, whether they're in the movie business or elsewhere. They just, let's spend more money, then it'll be good. No. And no. I mean, pretty much most people were agreed this movie did not look good. Didn't look like I don't know what they spent on it, 100 million more? Didn't look like they spent that kind of money. I mean, look at the cast. I knew Susan Sarandon, George Lopez in the lead. That's about it. And so a lot of it was spent on visual effects that are boring now because they're in every damn movie. And I couldn't tell you what the plot was. Guy gets superpowers. That's the plot. That's the problem. That's really the problem. Every movie's like guy gets superpowers. The end. Carter Chain. Just like the government, just pour more money on the problem. Yeah. Well, that's part of the problem in government too. I mean, there are people who, I mean, they're even worse because people in the government, it's not their money. At least the studio people are like, oh, we can't spend too much money because then we'll get called into the office for spending too much money. And there are usually incentives to dissuade that within a corporation. So when my friend of mine worked at Disney, what they would do is they would set up their executives in an office and they would give them the office, but they were charging them rent on a tab, right? So their office, there was a tab, and whatever the budget of the office was, you know, that's what got added up. And then the idea was when you got a movie greenlit and it started making money, before they paid you your royalties, they would take back the money you spent on the office. So you could have anything you want in your office, and these guys did. They had a budget for candy that was, I believe, trying to remember, it was a ridiculous sum. It was like $150 or $250 a month for candy for the office. Artisan candy. Just for the office. And they had TVs and all kinds of accoutrement. Instead of just having an office, they had to have candy and things and perks. And they were always ordering food and going on trips on the mouse, they would say. And that was all put against any movies that might actually start making money. Which, when you really think about it, it's not that big a deal, because you look at it and go, well, these movies make millions and millions of dollars. It only takes one movie, makes a few mil, yeah, you'll pay that back. But obviously, I think people were abusing it. Clint says hi, Carter. So, Blue Beetle was just so unnecessary, so expensive, didn't need to be. I think you could have made a good Blue Beetle movie for under $40 million. I don't think you needed any stars, number one, except maybe the lead. He was a pretty good actor from what I heard. So keep him. George Lopez, completely superfluous. Definitely don't need him. Susan Sarandon, absolutely no draw there. I mean, I like Susan Sarandon, but that's a wrong movie for her. The Susan Sarandon fans aren't going to go, oh, Susan Sarandon's in Blue Beetle? Let's go see that. That's not the kind of movie she normally does. She has done a few later movies, comedies. I mean, she was in a Rocky Horror Picture Show. She was in, was it Major League or the other one? I forget. One of the baseball movies. But that was 20, 30, 40 years ago. More recently, she does more critically acclaimed art house type movies. Tends to be older women. Older women aren't going to go see Blue Beetle. It's just the wrong person. If you wanted to get somebody to go see Blue Beetle, who could you have cast as a villain? Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo. Because when you cast Danny Trejo, first off, he's always an awesome villain. And second off, was he in the movie? He might have been in the movie already. I don't know. Marshall J is here. Hey, I'm here. Hi, Marshall J. But he's just a good villain. And people associate Danny Trejo with action. Blue Beetle's action-y. I mean, there's not a lot of people you associate with superheroes specifically. And then those are too expensive or they kind of don't matter. So, yeah. Danny Trejo is about the only one that comes to mind. Maybe a couple of the guys from Breaking Bad. They got a bit of a name, but you know, Blue Beetle, the villain. Susan Sarandon as any villain, not a good casting choice. She doesn't scream evil. She's too much of a hippie. Who screams evil? That's a female actress. I'm sure there are a few of them. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but Amber Heard. But she's already in the DC universe, so couldn't get her. I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody. Plenty of evil people to cast in there. Oh God, there was a woman from. I can't think of her name, of course. She was in the Jennifer Lawrence movie about the people who lived in the Ozarks, and she had to save her father's house and land. And she was part of a gang that sold meth. She's always playing like some kind of crazy hillbilly lady. Can't think of her name, but she'd be a good villain. She'd be over the top. Oh, I know, Cersei from Game of Thrones. What's her face? She was a great villain in Judge Dredd. People forget about that movie. The Carl Urban movie with Judge Dredd. Cersei is awesome in that. That's why that movie's mostly so good. Besides Carl Urban, she is a great villain. Carter Chain says, hi, Clint. And you really need a great villain to make a superhero work. And Susan Sarandon's just like, you might as well have cast Marianne Williamson. What are you doing? Oh, we gotta cast more women. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. There were already women in this movie. You didn't need to cast more women just to cast more women. Marshall J. Barbie's still going strong in its 7th weekend, about to hit $1.4 billion later this week or next weekend. Really shocked it got this far in the box office. Me too. Me too. But women are going to see it. They have decided this is their movie, and nothing's going to stop them from seeing it. Probably multiple times at this point. But again, I don't think it's about the movie. I think it's about getting together with your friends, getting your margarita on, dressing in pink, taking a bunch of Instagram pictures, and then going to the movies. And then going out afterwards and having a night out. That, to me, is what it's about. It's Barbie parties. I don't think there are many women going to see Barbie by themselves. You know? I don't think there are many women, oh, everybody in the office saw Barbie, I have to go see it so I can talk about it. Nah. I don't think so. I don't think you need to actually see the damn movie to talk about it. So, I think they're just running girls to that movie nonstop. Might be a great place to pick up a girl under the right circumstances. I'm not sure how you would work that. Never been very good at, getting one of the girls away from the rest of the pack. But, might be able to, a way to work it. I don't know. I think you'd have to be Ken. I think you'd have to have some good Kenergy to make that happen. So here's the real shock. At 4th place, Gran Turismo. Zemeck Demise. I like that name. Zemeck. When the Kens take over. That should be the name of the spin-off movie. All about Ken. When the Kens take over. Gran Turismo dropped to 4. And I'm a little surprised by this because this movie did okay last week. This is a drop of 62%. This movie has no legs. Carter Chain. Tony is not Kenough. Hey, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you, Carter? I'm not enough to see that movie, that's for sure. Short of Margot Robbie herself wanting to go see that movie, I can't think of a single woman I'd say, okay, I'll go see Barbie with you. Jesus. I don't know. I'm pretty thirsty, but even I'd be like, nah. I'll drop you off and go see Oppenheimer. I'll meet you outside. But Gran Turismo drops from 1 to 4. 6.5 million. I mean, Blue Beetle beat it. Surprising. Barbie's still in the mix, quite frankly. So, That's a big drop. So that is not good. Um, that does not bode well for Gran Turismo. And I don't think this movie was all that cheap. 80 million. Zivik, the Lotus Eaters are pro Barbie. Yeah, they talk about the the ironic message that Ken gives, and because the movie is weirdly, Ken is like the only character that really changes, and he's the more interesting. He has a journey, whereas I don't think Barbie does. Barbie and the Barbies just go right back to what they were doing, and I don't think any of the women care. I think they've decided it's their movie. They've decided it's their thing. It doesn't matter. If it was 2 solid hours of, I don't know, puppies pooping on the camera lens, and they decided that's cute, that it wouldn't matter. They would still continue to say it. Joan, relax. So I think they have a point. I've watched their analysis, if not the movie, but I think it's lost upon most of the women that go see the movie because I don't think they care about the movie. In my view, women are wired. They're just wired differently, and they see this movie as an event, as a thing to be seen at, and that's it. That's the important part. Everything else is superfluous. It's going to see the movie, being seen with their friends, seeing the movie, being able to talk with their friends about the movie, and taking pictures of themselves in and around the movie, wearing pink, going out afterwards. That's what it is to them. The movie doesn't matter, I don't think. JC, Barbie sounds woke, but it's so woke it did the horseshoe thing and accidentally made it into a MGTOW movie. Yeah, kinda. Kinda, yeah. Yeah. Because who would want to see a sequel with Barbie? I don't think you would. And that may be why Greta Gerwig is kind of like not so into jumping into a sequel. She may have made it nearly impossible to make a decent sequel unless it's about Ken. And I don't know. I think a Ken movie could work, and I think it could still appeal to women. Zebek, all the girls walk by dressed up for each other. Yes. Yes. It's always, I think for most women, it's about the social aspect of everything. Whether it's their relationship or being seen. That's priority. Everything else is secondary. They're just hardwired that way. And I'm not knocking them for that. That's just the way they are. It's like knocking anybody for being the way. I mean, it would be like knocking guys for talking about women's boobs. It's just the way we are. We like to talk about boobs. I love looking through the dating sites and women trying to reach out to men, but they keep bragging about things that guys don't care about. And I know a lot of them are just like me. They're just looking at their face going, do I like this face? I don't know. Let's see the body. And they're like, we're not reading any of the bio yet. We have to get past that, and then we start reading the bio. Okay, I think I could sleep with this girl. Let me see how annoying she is. Will she be fun, or will she be a drag? Marshall J. I finally watched Flash. Kinda disappointed Michael Keaton's Batman was the best part, but the CGI was horrible. Kinda took me out of the movie. Supergirl was decent. Yeah, I could watch it, but that's like 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. I don't know. It doesn't look like the worst, but it's like James Gunn made a huge tactical error in talking about the new DCU. And I get kind of why he did it, because he wanted to separate himself, his DC universe, from the old DC EU. I don't know why they call it EU. But he's talked way too much about it. He's too far down the road. And the movies haven't all come out yet. He should have waited. Because at least we would have had hope that some of the good stuff in these movies would survive. But it may have been a strategy behind the scenes to torpedo everything about the old movies so he would not have to do that. Because I gotta imagine the executives at Warner Brothers probably want Gal Gadot to come back. Probably were, why don't you keep Henry Cavill? I mean, there were some things they could have salvaged. But, you know, part of it is Hollywood guys saying, I gotta make my mark. I gotta make a clean break. It's not a bad strategy, but the bad part of this strategy was he started it way too soon. And he still got Matt Reeves, the Batman, to contend with, which I think is good. Clint Miller, I've heard women say that women dress for other women. Yeah, they do. Because they kind of can't dress for men, because I think most men like very slutty things. So they know, I'll show some boob, but that'll be more than enough for men. Like, they don't have to dress for men, because we're very basic about it. Like, if you look good, we're fine. However you look good, that's fine. So yeah, I would say that's probably an accurate statement. Storebang, hello Storebang. No reason for them not to make Black Barbie. That could, well, see, if they do that, that would probably be a smart move, because then you could easily ditch Margot Robbie, who you probably should ditch and not bring back. Then you could start with a different actress, a different young actress, smoking hot Margot Robbie version of a Black Barbie, and just do the whole movie again and just come up with a different angle. You could have Black Ken. I don't know, did Black Barbie have a different boyfriend? Yeah, I think you could do that. And I think it would be fine. And I think women would enjoy it. Zivik, is that Lizzo's chance at playing Barbie? You know, Amy Schumer was supposed to be Barbie. Crazily enough. Here's my theory. Amy Schumer couldn't lose the weight. That's my theory. Amy was locked into this and couldn't lose the weight. And then they started sniffing around for other people, and Margot Robbie, whose career hasn't gone great up until now, kind of on the downslide. Maybe right after Babylon, said, I'll do it. And I suspect she was probably offered the role initially and then turned it down. And then they ended up with Amy Schumer, hoping she could make it funny. But instead, I mean, the rumor is Amy thought the movie wasn't feminist enough. So imagine the movie she would have made. Oh, God, I would have loved that movie. That movie I would have seen. Absolutely. That movie would have tanked, though. I mean, Barbie is proof positive that people like to see beautiful people. You know, Margot Robbie is smoking hot. I don't think I could go see Barbie. But if you put Barbie on and I turned the sound off, I might be able to watch some of it. Because Margot Robbie's walking around. Cute little outfits for some of the movie. Maybe somebody will put together a supercut online. I won't have to watch the rest of it. And put some music over it and I'll just go, oh yeah, she did look great in that movie. Lizzo playing Barbie. That would be high freaking hilarious. But I think Lizzo's done. And it couldn't happen to a nicer person. She was just, in my view, very arrogant. Needlessly so. And her whole, you know, going on and on about being proud to be fat. Not a good strategy. I get it. She shouldn't feel bad, but she shouldn't say she's healthy either. She should just be like, well, you know, I don't know why people are obsessed with my weight. I'm fat. Leave me alone. Instead, she got very confrontational about it, I think. I think allowing her to play that James Madison flute or whatever was kind of an outrage. I don't think she should have been playing that flute. I think that's a national treasure. I don't think you should be loaning it to a pop star to play. Nah, don't think so. It was James Madison's flute, right? Yeah, that's not right. Like, if you gave her a replica, maybe, who cares? But you gave her the actual flute? Although I will say, she can play the flute. I mean, that's something. She's not untalented. She's just kind of a jerk, in my view. And what's come out about the dancers afterwards, yeah, that's not good. So I think she might be done. So I don't think she'll be up for anything. Joan has her head against my desk and her tongue sticking out. I wish you could see it. It's pretty funny. JC, Lizzo is a psyop. Remember when Kanye said they had the same trainer who used bots to shame her into not losing weight? No, I don't remember that at all. That's weird. They shamed her for not losing weight. Well, when her heart starts to explode, she might regret that decision. Look, and not for nothing, Lizzo looks like the kind of person it would be tough for her to lose that much weight. She ain't going to get razor thin like Adele. No, I don't think so. I don't think it would be possible. However, she is young, maybe, but she looks like her frame is big. She could certainly lose weight, but I don't think she would get thin. But that's not good, not right. You know, South Park had that great episode, I don't know if you remember, about Britney Spears. And it was a parody of The Wicker Man, and Britney was the sacrifice to have a good season. And that's why they... and it was a whole episode where the top of Britney's head gets blown off. And she continues to live. But the idea was that, you know, you sacrifice someone so that the rest of the town had a good harvest, and Britney was the sacrifice. It was like this whole metaphor that we sacrifice the pop singers of the day. So maybe Lizzo is that. Maybe she's like the latest sacrifice. Just like Britney gave up her sanity, Miley Cyrus gave up her dignity, and Lizzo is giving up her health. Zemek. I didn't even know the flute existed till she played it. That's true. I guess, but still, it's kind of a, you know, it's an artifact. It's like you wouldn't. I don't think you'd be loaning out like the Stradivarius that some famous violin player played. It belongs into a museum. Carter at JEC, didn't that same trainer have CIA ties? Oh, now I'm starting to remember something about that. JEC, remember Kanye's evil personal trainer who threatened to take his kids away and drug him into a zombie state? He's Lizzo's trainer too. Okay, now I remember. I didn't remember this part. I didn't remember the part about Lizzo, but I do remember that. That's crazy. What the F is going on? That does sound like a psyop. We give the CIA too much money. We really do. Imagine the ridiculous meeting they had about this. All right, guys. Let's talk about the latest psyop. Yeah, I want to take a fat woman and make her the biggest pop star in the United States. Okay, I'm following so far. Where's this going? Well, see, she'll be fat. And then she'll say fat is healthy. So more people will be fat. Yeah. And then they'll die of heart disease. Yeah. And we'll make money on that. How? Well, they'll eat a lot of food. It's true. I guess we could control the food. Oh, and they'll need lots of medical care. All right. Yeah, let's try it. I mean, what was the meeting? Clint Miller. Zivek. Promise me you won't become a gale ass. What's a gale ass? JC at Carter. He has ties to the Canadian military involved in programs using drugs to MK Ultra people. Oh no. Clint Miller. She is big. Yes, she is. And JC. Kanye said if Lizzo lost a few pounds and her trainer would jump on Twitter and use bots to give her S about losing weight and attack her for not being body positive, so she put on more weight. Well, it's weird that worked. But I guess it did. I mean, here's the weird thing. My friend I mentioned earlier in the live stream, Tommy Castillo, when he first was signed up to do Batman, the editor told him, you're going to be drawing Batman. There's a lot of pressure on you. And people in the forums will talk about you. And that's what usually gets to the artist. It's their, it gets to them. The pressure of drawing Batman gets to them through the online forums. Now, if you knew my friend Tommy, he never would have struck you as a guy who would have ever been had that as a problem. You would have talked to him and said, "There's no way Tommy's going to fold under the pressure of some idiots online." But it did impact him. I wouldn't say he folded, but he was starting to worry about some of that. And we were telling him that ignore that stuff. They're just idiots on a forum. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, I can see it working. Zebek. Don't worry, I've stopped growing. Clint Miller. Good to know, Zebek. I never, if I had to predict what we were going to talk about on this live stream, Lizzo was not on the list, but there we go. So, yeah, I could see Lizzo being impacted, but it's weird because it's so against common sense to be fat. I mean, she must break a sweat going up the stairs. Granted, she's young. She could shake off a lot of that now, but all she would have to do to not gain, to lose weight. I mean, she's performing and dancing a lot. So you got to figure she's sweating the entire time. I've performed on stage under lights and I haven't done half the moves someone like Lizzo does, and usually by the time the show's over, I'm drenched. And so doing a show night after night, if you're just eating normally, it would just burn right off you. So she had to probably do work to keep that weight on. Clint Miller, are we having too much fun in the chat, Tony? No, it's fine. I'm just sort of shocked we went down this path. Marshall J, I agree with you 100%. People see Barbie as an event, like a treading thing right now, or you mean trending thing, I think. In my opinion, is why it's so successful. Yes, I would agree with that. See, like, Gran Turismo, not quite as big of an icon, but, it seemed to do well the first week, and it's already down 62% in the second week. And it's only done 80 million worldwide. I mean, at this rate, will this thing even break even? Because I kind of got to figure this is a $200 million movie with the advertising, at least. So next week, yeah, this movie will be lucky to break 100 million, I think. That's not good. Meanwhile, Oppenheimer is the third biggest grossing movie of 2023. Shocking. and it's still tracking at exactly half of what Barbie did, which is also very interesting to me. Although, no, not really. In the total, if you doubled that, it would be 1.6, 1.7 billion. But still, a lot of the weeks, it's been almost half or a little more. This is a little more. So 5.5 million this week. Barbie did 10.6. But that's very close to half. And Barbie dropped by 29%. Oppenheimer dropped by 33%. So, I don't think it's going to do $1 billion. I mean, it's at 852. And what did it do this week? It did 5 million? Yeah, I don't think it can make another 140 million. It might just make it with maybe DVD sales and stuff like that. Might just get over $1 billion. But I think Barbie, I forget who said it earlier, will definitely get over 1.4 billion. Maybe 1.5 eventually, with DVD and whatnot. So then there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, drops from 5 to 6, 4.7 million, still behind Oppenheimer. Going out of theaters. All these movies are going out of theaters except The Equalizer and Gran Turismo. Now, Gran Turismo might go back up next week as Blue Beetle and Barbie go out of more theaters. Another shocker, Bottoms. This is the second week of this movie. Bottoms is a, in my view, terrible high school movie, coming of age, about two very angry lesbians in high school who are trying to get the girls of their dreams, and they start a fight club. It's a very weird pitch. It makes very little sense to me. $3 million, which is kind of high for a movie like that. That's most of what it made. It made about $4 million. It's definitely not money. I gotta think this movie cost, I mean, $10 million at least with the advertising. But there's nobody known in it, so if everybody was paid scale, and they only shot it in a high school, and there's no special effects, you could get a pretty low budget on this. I mean, you could get this movie under 4 or 5 million. So this could be money. But I kind of doubt it because it's Hollywood. It's MGM, but it's just weird MGM even put it out. So I don't know. It's not a movie for me, obviously, but I'd be more about that Jennifer Lawrence movie where she's naked. This movie doesn't, it looks like it's going to have a lot of woke comedy in it. Yeah, I don't remember liking it in my trailer analysis. It's got a lot of, I don't know, a lot of issues with it. That doesn't seem realistic to me. Number 8, The Meg 2, The Trench, 2.9 million. Almost beat Bottoms. Almost came on top of Bottoms. Was in a lot more theaters, too. That shows you how many people went to go see Bottoms. Meg 2 still did very well overseas. I think they're going to make a third one. I mean, $375 million overseas. There's no way this movie cost more than $100 million. It doesn't look like they spent. Now, Jason Statham doesn't come cheap, and I think there's one or two other notables in this thing. But as a matter of fact, I can check. Why don't you check, Tony? For once in your life, check. Okay, I will. I'll show you, imaginary person. Yeah, who's in this thing? I don't recognize any of these guys. Okay. No, I was right the first time. Jason Statham's the biggest name in this, I would say, by far. Carter Chain. When I was in the UK weeks ago, the Meg 2 was being pushed hard. Well, it seems to be doing very well overseas. I mean, let's see what it did in the UK. Well, China, here you go. China, $111 million. So there you go. That's your answer right there. UK, it did $14 million. It's not great. Mexico, it did $20 million. But look at China. That's money. That's money. I think some of the stars in this movie are Chinese. Possibly from movies that did well in China. I don't know. I mean, I don't know these stars, but their names sound Chinese. So, I mean, that's a strategy. Seems to be a strategy that's working. Clint Miller. Carter, were you the one planning to visit the Lotus Eater studio? Oh, yeah, I think we went through that. What happened? He ended up not going, but he hung out with John, if I'm remembering correctly. I think that's what happened. Yeah, so the Meg, I would expect a Meg 3. Yeah. I don't know what the plot's going to be, but I would guarantee Jason Statham's in it, and there's going to be more than one. It'll probably be like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 of them. Number 9 is Strays. This is a movie I'll probably eventually see, because this is that funny dog movie with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx. $2.5 million. It's not doing great. $26 million. It's got a lot of CGI. I don't think that's money. When you got Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, what's his face? MacGruber. Carter at Clint Miller. I went out drinking with Wong, and then we got way too hammered to do anything the day after. Blame it on the alcohol. Who would have thought? In the UK, people drinking? Outrageous. I'll never forget when my ex was, her father was English, and she had relatives in the UK that would come over here, and we entertained some of her relatives one time. Man, those guys could knock it back. They could knock it back and wouldn't impact them. We had to have multiple bottles of wine for them. I mean, they were just like boom, slamming them down. I was impressed. Clint Miller asked, John Wong, really cool guy or ready cool guy? Carter, John Wong is definitely one of the boys. Super chill guy. Good to hear. Number 10 is Talk to Me. This was a horror movie. Did $1.7 million. They're definitely doing a sequel to this. It's at $58 million. Probably didn't cost a lot of money to do. I couldn't tell you anybody in it. It looked fine. Number 11, The Hill. It's a baseball movie. $1.4 million. This is not doing well. $5.2 million. Dennis Quaid. Yeah, that doesn't seem like enough money. There's a lot of period piece stuff in this. Back in the day, this movie would have killed. These baseball movies were everywhere, and they were making money. This is not doing what, $5 million? There's no way that's money. No way. Haunted Mansion, $1.3 million? Really? Still doing $1 million, huh? Well, it cracked $100 million. That's still not enough money. They're saying this lost Disney a bundle. It looked bad. Didn't look great. I mean, Danny DeVito's in it. That'd be the only reason I'd go see it. I mean, maybe Owen Wilson too, but... What? All right. Do you want to go get a drink? No, I'm going to regret this. Joan, I'm going to put you on the ground so you can get a drink, but God help you. God help you if you start messing around. Here we go. Yeah, so the Haunted Mansion movie, 1.3 million. A lot of these movies are still over a million. A few weeks ago, I was looking at movies, and only the top 3 or 4 would be over a million. All the rest would be under. But it's just over a million. I mean, Mission Impossible, 1.2 million. I mean, it's still worth to keep it in theaters, right? If it's making $1 million a week, it's got to be worth it. You would think. Mission Impossible, I think, underperformed. 560 million. I don't know if that's money. This movie had to be very expensive. It was shot during the pandemic. There's a ton of stunts in it. The only thing that is the saving grace of this movie is when part 2 comes out, they could show this as a double feature. And then make more money on one again. Which I think they'll re-release it. If they're smart, they would. But it seems like a poor showing for such a big franchise. On the upswing, if this was just the next movie, this might have killed the franchise. They might have said, well, we didn't make much money on this one. I mean, I think it's probably some amount of profit, but not much. I think they were expecting to do $1 billion with this movie, and they're just nowhere near that. 560 is not great. Elemental, 1.1 million. They put it back in more theaters. What the hell, man? 478 million. Again, not money because it's animated. That's gotta cost That's gotta cost $200 million just to make. Maybe it's money if they didn't advertise. They didn't seem to advertise it too much, but it's hard to tell what they spent overseas on this thing, because sometimes they will spend a ton of money on a movie, and you'll just, you'll be in the States, you'll have no idea. It'll be a movie you barely have heard about. Like Carter just said about, I think it was Carter said about the Meg. I mean, they did advertise it here, but I wouldn't call it like a big push. It was just sort of there. The first Meg movie, I remember them advertising it a lot. The second one, not so much. The first Meg movie, when that came out a few years ago, I remember walking along the boardwalk in Atlantic City. There was a massive ad for the Meg, an animated like movie poster thing they had. Must have cost them a small fortune. And I remember going, man, that's a cool poster, but I don't know. I guess they figured, well, people in the Jersey Shore will go see a movie about a shark? Maybe that was the thinking? Way down on the list is Golda, about Golda Meir. This movie's not doing great, but I'm not so sure they expected it to do great. It's a Bleecker Street production. They've got many other openings scheduled, but man, they're far in the future. September, October, Spain, it opens in December. Kind of far into the future. 3.3 million, no way that's money. I mean, Helen Mirren, that wouldn't even cover her makeup. So this has got to hurt them. But this sounds like Oscar bait to me. It's going to be thrown into the mix for an Oscar. I don't think she's going to win. I think the Maestro's going to win. But I think she'll be nominated. It's a shame. But amazingly, this movie is not opening up in Israel. How do you not open this movie in Israel? I just don't get it. Wouldn't people in Israel want to see this movie? I mean, it's probably a glowing picture of Golda Meir. It's weird. Then The Sound of Freedom, still doing business, $762,000. we're at 183 million, and finally we have international box office. Australia. 1.1 million in Australia. That's not a lot of money. And $268,000 in New Zealand. Well, still though, still doing very well for a $14 million movie. Phew. Yeah, this is so much money. This was a nice lean movie. $14 million for the production. I mean, how much did they spend on advertising? Even if they spent the production budget again, another $14 million. That's money in the bank, baby. That's how you make a movie. You make it for $14 million, it makes $180 million. That's money. That should have been Blue Beetle. Make it for $14 million, and everybody goes and sees it. And then if nobody goes and sees it, and you make $20 million, you're still fine. Warner Brothers. And you can make 10 movies just like it, because you probably spent that much on Blue Beetle by itself. Jurassic Park. Oh, this was the re-release. Still in theaters. Made $389,000 to crack $1 billion. Did it crack $1 billion because of the re-release? Maybe. Premiered The Good Mother from Vertical Entertainment. $302,000. The Good Mother. I think I saw the trailer for this. What the hell is this movie? Hilary Swank, I think, getting revenge. I think it's a revenge movie. Yeah, I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, it looked fine. Is it going to get international release in Russia? How are we releasing movies in Russia? Can anybody explain that to me? We hate you, Russians. You're such bad people. We're gonna beat you in the Ukraine. Oh, here's the movie. What? What? Doesn't make any sense. But okay. I guess it's releasing in Russia. That's the only it's the only country it's releasing in. Outside the United States? Why? Did Vladimir Putin himself put money into this thing? It's not doing well here. Maybe it'll do good in Russia. Is it because it has the word mother, like Mother Russia, in the title? Do you think Russians will mistake it? Oh, they must be talking about Mother Russia. I will go see the good mother. Like, what? Why just Russia? Why? There are other countries that speak English. You could release it there. Canada, the UK, Jamaica. They speak a lot of English in Germany. I mean, there's all kinds of places. Makes no sense. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Oh my. $119,000. Yeah, it ain't going to help. Still stuck around $371 million. And we all know that ain't covering jack. I'd like to know the true budget on this thing. Marshall J., you think upcoming movie, The Hunger Games prequel, will do decent at the box office? It's coming out this year. I do not think it will do decent. Here is why. Number one, it's a prequel. Yes, there are some hardcore Hunger Game fanatics out there, but I don't think there are enough. I don't think it was as big as, say, Star Wars, that you're going to get millions of people to come out and say it. I just don't think. Number two, Rachel Zegler is the lead, and everybody hates her right now because of Snow White. They'll project the terribleness of Snow White onto that movie. Now, if they're smart, what they'll do is they'll advertise the movie without putting Rachel Zegler up front. And then people will watch it and go, well, I don't think I know the woman in this, but I do know the other actors, so okay, maybe. But in general, it just doesn't seem like a good project to do. JEC seems to agree. Hunger Games hype is done. Yeah. It's just not that big of a movie. And I would contend that the reason the first one did good was Jennifer Lawrence. it hit Jennifer Lawrence just at the right time. Her career was really on the rise. It gave her a starring vehicle. She's great in the role, I'll say. I don't like the movie, but she's great in it. She is a really good actress. Okay? She's just good. She's one of these people that can almost carry the movie by herself. She's good in that role. You see her in other movies, you know, she's just good. So, you know, she is as good in that as she was in the X-Men movie. And she didn't carry that movie by herself, but every scene with her is like, oh yeah, she is good. She's one of those actors who's very focused, doesn't screw around. She's playing the character, she's in the role, and you don't believe for a second she's distracted at all. She gives it her all. There are plenty of other actresses, they're in the movie, like Rachel Zegler. She's in the movie, but so what? She's kind of half paying attention, just saying the lines. Not Jennifer Lawrence, I would say. JC, YA Fab was big when the first movie dropped. That is true. That Divergent series came out. That looked awful, by the way. JC, there are people who like Hunger Games. Then there are people who have seen Battle Royale. That's the one with I think it's the Japanese movie with all the kids killing each other, right? In the high school. Ryan Citro is here. Hello, Ryan Citro. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, it's just over. The Hunger Games really wore itself out during its run. By the third movie, God, I was sick of seeing it. I watched the first one. I forget why. Why did I go see the first one? Or did I watch it on Netflix or something? I can't remember. It was a while ago. For some reason, I did see The Hunger Games. Don't ask me why. It is, to me, it is an episode of The Twilight Zone stretched out for 3 movies. That's all it is. Oh, dystopian future. Oh, we're all in districts. Oh, revolution. Ah, the end. I mean, it's not that hard of a thing, and it doesn't make all that much sense. But I can kind of understand why people who grew up with it like it, because they didn't grow up with the Twilight Zone and all the great stuff I saw coming up. So they think it takes 6 hours to tell that story. It doesn't. It takes about 30 minutes. Clint Miller. Hi, Ryan. Zebek. Battle Royale was a great book. Didn't they make a movie, though? Or am I thinking of something else? I could have sworn it's a Japanese movie where kids are trapped in a high school and they all kill each other. And didn't they make an anime? Anyhow, yeah, Indiana Jones, not money. So not money. Last Voyage of the Demeter, so not money. This was a disappointment. The trailer did look good. The premise looked good. And then the lead had to open his big damn mouth, and I was like, out. 18 million worldwide, that is not money. This was a period piece on a ship with special effects. Yeah, there's no way that's money. This movie had to cost some money. Zebek, it was a movie too, same story. Oh, okay, so that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, this was a great pitch. But so many problems. So many problems. JC, it started as a manga or maybe a light novel, then they made it into a live action movie. Yeah, okay. Yep, that's the one I saw. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but I saw the trailer, I think, before I was doing trailer analysis. God, 18 million. That is not going to cover the cost of the damn boat that they built to make this movie. But this movie needed to be called something else. Last Voyage of the Demeter. Nah, not enough. Not enough. If it was called Dracula, The Last Voyage, something like that, maybe. It had to have Dracula, vampire, Vlad the Impaler, something to indicate there was a vampire on the ship. And it just wasn't there. Clint, Demeter lacked suspense. That's a real problem. And that lead playing the race car did not help. Theater Camp made $85,000. This movie was probably cheap, but I don't know. It almost made $4 million. That might be money. Little Mermaid still in theaters, $74,000. Made almost as much as the Tom Cruise movie. Clint Miller, YouTube needs to add an edit feature, in my humble opinion. I think it does have an edit feature. Why? Did a commercial pop up? Because I got a weird message from YouTube saying that I had to approve commercials in my live stream. Did that just pop up in the middle of my live stream and I'm just sitting here talking to myself? Old Boy re-release made $60K. Super Mario Brothers movie still in theaters. Still in 127 theaters. What is this at? 1.3 billion. Well, I think Barbie's going to beat that. Asteroid City still in 46 theaters. $50 million. Well, that is not money, I don't think, but it's a shame. Fremont made $29,000. Clint Miller, I saw 2. You saw 2 commercials while I was doing the stream or before you had to get in? Marshall J. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. The budget of that movie was $300 million. So it's probably made some money then, right? So you figured $300 million to make it. Had to be somewhere between 100 and 200 million to advertise it. I wouldn't use the same formula and say it was the budget in advertising only because it went over budget because of the pandemic. So I can't see them spending more than $200 million to advertise any movie. So probably close, somewhere between 400 and 500 million to make and advertise the damn thing worldwide. It only made like 580. So they only made about $80 million on a damn thing. That's not a lot when you spend that kind of money. It should make $1 billion. You should double your money. This Fremont movie looks very art house. $68K. Birth Rebirth. $110,000. Clint Miller, another commercial. A local Zambulance chaser ad in the live stream. Am I getting money for this? YouTube, 2 cents probably. The Unknown Country from Music Box Films made $48,000. And Lakota Nation versus United States. This has been in theaters a while. Oh, so has Unknown Country. 8 weeks. IFC Films. Geez, it still hasn't cracked 100K. Well, it sounds like it's probably like a documentary. Probably shouldn't have gotten a wide release anyway. I'm sorry about the commercials, by the way. Not sure what the deal is on them. I don't know. YouTube just told me to hit a button. Didn't really give me many choices. I guess I could have demonetized the entire stream. I guess. I mean, I don't mind the commercials right up front, I guess. Right? I'm willing to look at a commercial up front, but I don't like the commercials in the live stream. That seems to interrupt the flow. And is everybody seeing the commercials at the same time, or are they just throwing them in there willy-nilly? Seems stupid. All right, so that's the box office this week. $87 million. but a lot of movies are doing 1 million, so I guess that's slightly better. Kind of goes from like everybody's doing at least 1 million to a handful of movies doing a few 100,000, and then goes right down to below 100,000. So I don't know if we're really getting everything on this. You know what I would like to see, and I'll have to try to find a site that would show it. What Fathom Events movies are making. Although I don't think they're shown with the same sort of regularity as a regular movie, but these Fathom Events may be the alternative distribution model, because they have this new movie out called Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talesman of Souls, which is a comedy about a nerdy guy who he wins a contest and has to go to this like very nerdy thing for a video game he plays, but he turns out to be the hero. And it actually looks kind of mildly amusing, but I'm not sure where it's playing. It's playing at Fathom Events one day only. Let me see if I can find something. Fathom Events box office. See if that works. Box office cinemas, the numbers. Box office performance history of Fathom Events. Oh, okay, here we go. All right. So this is all of them. The Chosen Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2 were their biggest sellers. There's a lot of religious things on this. 14 million. These are very limited runs. It's kind of like they're renting out the theater. Christmas with the Chosen, 13 million. I Heard the Bells. These are all religious. The Chosen Season 3 finale, 5 million. Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Carter Chain. I'm sorry, Tony. It's my friend Carson's 21st birthday today, and he really wants a happy birthday shout out. Happy birthday, Carson. You will be tempted to go out and get very, very drunk, if that's your thing. I mean, I guess so. I say go to a strip club. If you're going to pick a vice, pick that one. Jay and Silent Bob reboot Life Mark. I don't know what that is. Clerks 3. So I guess Kevin Smith got in on this. Batman the Killing Joke. Oh, that was from 2016. Weird, this stuff that got on here. So, oh wait, here's the complete list. Oh wow, this is by year. Interesting. Carter, it's too late. He's hammered. We might take you up on that strip club idea. I don't know if it's a good idea if you're hammered to go to the strip club. That's probably a bad idea. Because I'll say this: if you do go, do not drive. Number one, and number two, don't bring any money you want to come home with. Okay, don't bring extra money just in case, because you're not gonna have any money when you come out of there, especially if you're hammered. Zedek, reboot Jay and Silent Bob. Does Silent Bob cry all the time now? That'd be pretty funny if he did. I gotta say, that would be a Jay and Silent Bob, I would say. Jay and Silent Bob, let's say, it would be Kevin Smith just crying, or maybe they would recast him, which would be really funny, right? So they cast the guy to be Bob, and he just cries the whole time. And then they recast Jay, but he's like way too handsome for the role, and he's like really large and muscular. And he talks like this, but he says the exact same lines. Snoochie boochie, Silent Bob. That would be pretty funny. So yeah, this is very fascinating to me, the whole Fathom Events thing. So they've got a whole schedule of all kinds of cool stuff coming out. Enter the Dragon special engagement in August. They had Golda. They played that one day. American Graffiti. They Live. I love that movie. Oh, that's playing today, in fact. Christine. So lots of cool things. A Christmas Story. They don't have Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talesman of the Souls on here, though. I guess they don't have every single listing. But I think this could possibly be the future of film distribution, or at least a competitor. So it could be very interesting in the future with distribution. This could be a way to get your film out there. All right, checking the trades. Denzel Washington doing his thing. Zivik made the kids watch They Live during the pandemic. That's such a good movie. I love They Live. Such a great scene with Roddy and what's his face punching each other over the glasses. I love that scene. Arden is here. Just got here. What was that about? Enter the Dragon? Fathom Events showed it back in August. I was looking at some of the Fathom Events things. They're kind of neat. Ardent. Oh, and got some big news. Ah, big news from Ardent. What is the news, Ardent? Stormy decided to marry me. Well, congratulations. Joan is very excited. She's on the floor. Congratulations, guys. Well, good for you. When's the big day? Or are you still working that out? You're probably like, got to book the hall. There's a whole thing. Got to book the hall if you're doing a reception thing. Got to get a man of the cloth, depending on how religious you are. I got married in my backyard, and the mayor of the town married us. And we just had a tiny reception. I have too many relatives, so it would have cost a fortune. So we decided just to have an immediate family thing. Clint Miller, congrats Ardent and Stormy. Yes. Ardent, thank you. We are going to ask Joan to be maid of honor. Well, that's very sweet. That's very sweet. Let me know when the fitting is. Yeah, there's a whole thing. And let me know when the bachelor party is. Speaking of strip clubs. Well, good on you guys. Many happy returns. Yeah, so it's a whole thing. Me and my ex, we did do the visiting reception halls. Even if you don't decide to do a big reception, do the reception hall visits. Ardent, no big plan just yet. Money's tight. Longish engagement expected. Okay. But you too can have date night. I'm telling you, at these reception halls, because they desperately want your business. Number one, it's a lot of money. So what they do is they invite you in on certain nights. Now, usually it's because they might have a special night to do it, or sometimes there's an actual reception going on, and then they have a separate other room for potential new clients, because they're already making the food, and there's already too much of it. There's always extra food at these things. So what they do is have the young couples come in and sample the food. So you get to eat very heartily. And they have some cool stuff, and it's usually free because they're desperate for your business, and they made all the food anyway, so they're just going to take a small portion of it and give some to you. Or they'll have a special night where they just bring in the chefs and make it for they'll have 30 couples there sampling the food, and you tell them, well, we're thinking about it. We went to a very fancy place. We were thinking about it first. It was the food was crazy. Ardent strip club, nah. Paintball and lightsaber fencing for the boys. Nails and hairs for the girls. Well, that sounds wholesome. I did paintball. One of my friends got married, and we did paintball at the abandoned Nike Missile Air Base. I think they've since torn it down completely, but it was abandoned at the time. It was extremely dangerous to play paintball there. At one point, I fell off a building and landed on this board. And I wasn't hurt, but I landed dead center in the board, and I didn't know where I'd fallen onto. And when I got up, I realized the board had originally been nailed to the building, and it had nails all the way around the perimeter, and they were all rusty and they were all sticking up. If I had landed 1 foot up, left, right, down, I would have impaled myself on rusty nails. But I was okay. Ardent, also Stormy says date night is Sundays watching Hollywoke Hot Take. Well, how nice. How nice. Congratulations, Stormy. Clint Miller, fun fact. Chemung Township, where Tony's next appearance is, carries the name Chemung, which the Lenni Lenape language means place of the big horn. That's weird. There's not a lot of big horns there that I'm aware of. I assume there must have been buffalo? Place of the big horn. Chemung. What is this? David Fincher puzzled by 5-minute Venice standing ovation for The Killer. It looks like an okay... I saw a teaser trailer for The Killer. I haven't done the analysis yet. Michael Fassbender as an assassin who's surprised. Hold on, sit down for this one. It's an assassin who turns against the people he worked for. I know, shocker, right? Shocker. You're saying, what? That's crazy. Why, they'll come to kill him. Clint Miller, wood bison. Probably. I don't know. I don't think we had bison in New Jersey. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we did at one point. Did we have cows? When did the cows come? Were the cows already here or were they imported? I think they were imported, right? Not sure. Were there cows here? Wild cows? Yeah, I guess they're steer. So there had to be cows. I don't know if there would have been any in New Jersey, though. Too wet here. Summer box office hits $4 billion after all, thanks to Barbie and Oppenheimer. Well, what about Mario? That was 1.3. And what's the name? Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That was $700 million. So Chris Pratt brought in $2 billion of that. And then Barbie and Oppenheimer brought in the other $2 billion. And then the rest of the movies. Wait a minute. Maverick was this year. Top Gun Maverick. So, right? That was this year. Wasn't it this year? Early in the year? That's $1 billion. I think you're doing the math wrong. Ethan Hawke on deciding to direct Flannery O'Connor biopic Wildcat. Good for him, I guess. Spanish actor Gabriel Guevara arrested on alleged sexual assault charges during Venice Film Festival. There's a lot going on at this Venice Film Festival, I'll tell you. I didn't see this one coming. I don't know who this guy is, but that's not good. A lot going on at the Venice Film Festival. First, it's the Battle of Standing Ovations. So you see, David Fincher got a 5-minute standing ovation. Roman Polanski has a new movie, and Mickey Rourke is in it. That got a 3-minute standing ovation, and there seems to be some controversy about whether or not it was any good. Some of the trades said it was terrible. Some of them said, well, 3-minute standing ovation. But then the big thing that came out was the 7-minute standing ovation from Bradley Cooper in The Maestro with his prosthetic nose. So the new metric for film festivals seems to be the standing ovation. And if you don't think people are in Hollywood are standing there timing a damn thing, you don't know how petty these people are. Ardent. Chris Pratt was brilliant in Magnificent Seven. Just saw it last night. He was in Magnificent Seven. They did another version of the Magnificent Seven? Let me see. When did that come out? Oh, yeah, here it is here. 2016. I didn't see this. I don't even remember it coming out. Clint Miller, he took out the Gatling gun, didn't he? Ardent, European audiences just like to stand and clap. JC, you heard what's going on at Burning Man. LOL, it's crazy. Ardent, Clint, yes. Yes, I did hear what's going on in Burning Man. I talked about it on the News Blast. And for those of you who don't know, so first they delayed Burning Man, and I forget why. I think because of the weather, initially. Then they said, okay, go to Burning Man. So everybody went, and then it rained. So then they said, we have problems with flooding, but instead of telling people to go to higher ground, they told everybody to stay put, which already sounded a little wee suspicious. Then, on Twitter, and this is just a rumor, some woman claims that people are very sick, or some people are very sick. So sick that the EMTs came out in full gear to examine people. And that one guy was throwing up, sorry for the graphic description, coagulated blood. And then the rumor became Ebola broke out at Burning Man. Ardent, Pyramid Lake cops didn't frig around. Those were the ones that busted up the climate thing? Right, they were blocking the road to Burning Man, and the climate idiots, the chlamydiots, as I call them, they were arrested. Thankfully somebody got arrested for blocking a road because they work for the reservation. They're not regular cops, so they're still in regular cop mode, as opposed to the cops we have now who go, oh, I don't know the climate. So now the rumor is everybody's been told to stay put in Burning Man, even though it's raining and muddy and people are running out of food and there's no water, except there's water all over the ground. And then there's another rumor that the mud is toxic and that it's drying out everybody's skin because they're running around naked, as they always do, in the mud. But it's raining, so I'm not sure how that jibes, because if you ran around in the mud and then you stood in the rain, well, wouldn't you wash off most of the mud, especially if you were naked? I don't know. I just assume people are there having sex with each other and taking lots of drugs, because that's what it's 90% for. Some idiots brought their kids. I don't know why you would bring your kids to Burning Man. Seems like a bad move. Ardent, LOL, imagine tripping balls at Burning Man and seeing guys in hazmat suits coming at you. Yeah, not a good look. Clint Miller, chlamydiots. Good one, Tony. Thank you. JC, they have no way to get rid of the S. 72K is digging holes and S-ing in the mud, and they're all on drugs dancing around in the mud. Ew. That's really bad. But here's what I don't understand. So the rumor is not only are they keeping everybody put, that they actually started building fences to keep them put. Are they trying to kill these hippies? Now, most of these people, my understanding, they're not really hippies. They're like California idiots who like to pretend they're hippies. And they've got money to rent RVs and camping equipment. And they're college students. and they go out again to get high and have sex with each other and dance naked in the mud or in the desert or whatever. And 90% of them. The other 10% are going to be actual hippies who are there to work and sell people drugs and, I assume, poorly made jewelry and other things that hippies make. So I think they should evacuate if it's a danger. You know, even if they have to evacuate it slowly, it's only 73,000 people. I would think you could get a few thousand people out a day. It's a desert. How hard could it be? Carter Chain, I've heard some crazy theories about Burning Man, from space lasers again to Ebola. Yeah, I heard the Ebola one. I did not hear the space lasers. That doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, what's the evidence for that? Did some of the tents burst into flame? Carter Chain, I also saw Chris Rock escaped from Burning Man. Well, he's rich. Of course, he's rich and famous. They ushered him right out. Ardent, Burning Man drag queen story time. Bad parenting all around. Yes. JC, they can get people out because people, they can't, I assume you mean you can't get people out because people's cars get stuck in the mud. Okay, right. But there's got to be some amount of people they could get out then. If it's that much of a danger, some people there, I'm going to say, have cars that can get through the mud. Because I got to imagine if you were going to this thing and you knew it was going to rain, you'd be like, we got to rent an SUV or we got to take the SUV. So I got to think there's a lot of people there with SUVs that really wouldn't be an issue. But maybe. And it's California or, the Southwest. There's a lot of people with Jeeps. There's just a lot of people with four-wheel drive. I mean, I get it. Some people showed up in their Dodge Caravan or whatever, and they're friggin' stuck, but it is a desert. It's just like a straight line in every direction. Can't they just drive in? There's got to be a road in some direction that's not completely flooded. Clint, Crota's End ad popped up. What the hell is Crota's End? Ardent, random midstream ads? What the F is this? Oh, man. They hosted the thing in a dried up lake bed. Oh, that's not good. What? Isn't that the same spot they always host it, but it's normally dry, right? So weird. Midstream ads. So can you see me, or you're just seeing the ads, or are the ads like running alongside of me? I'm not seeing the ads, of course, but I guess I wouldn't see them. Here, let me pop over to. No, they're not showing. Oh, it looks like I'm stuck. Looks like I'm stuck over here. Yeah, it's not even playing. Let's see what happens when I go to my channel. Ardent, yeah, no, full on ad break. JC, we can see you. Here, I'm going to pop over here on my own stream. All right, now this is the ad you'd normally see if you were just popping in. Okay. Now, I guess it's already over. Stream continued. Sorry about that, everybody. This is the new thing YouTube's doing to piss everybody off. So, go figure. YouTube has invented yet another reason that it sucks. But yeah, as far as Burning Man goes, I don't know. Would I go? When I was younger, maybe I would have gone to Burning Man if I thought I could get laid. And it sounds like a place you could get laid. I'm too old to sleep on the ground, though. I can't do that anymore. No. Ardent, chat is bollocks. Clint, it's working. Refreshing. Sorry, everybody. Stupid YouTube with your stupid live stream. Not even paying me. Should be paying me a boatload of money. I'm more entertaining than Hassan Piker. That D-bag. Why does he get millions of dollars? Because he knows Shank Ryuger is related to him? Doesn't seem fair. Ardent, ew. Ah, what happened now? Is it because I mentioned Hassan Piker? I don't blame it. Clint, not too old though. I'm 66. My girlfriend is 30. Nice. Nice. You give this old guy hope, Clint. You give this old guy hope. She's not tied up in your basement, is she, Clint? I'm just asking. I think that's about it for variety. Yeah. All right, moving on to Bounding into Comics. One of my favorite sites. He does a really good job. I use his site all the time. It's really good. So this was a story this week. Gwyneth Paltrow defends her exit from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why do you need Pepper Potts without Iron Man? It's a good question, but they gave her superpowers, if you'll remember. Ardent, go Clint. Clint Miller, not yet. Ardent, ew, was because of chasing tail at Burning Man. Piker just makes me laugh, sadly. I don't know. Hippie chicks can be cool. JC, yeah, it's a dried up riverbed. When it gets wet, everything sinks into the ground, and the ground is saturated with S. Ugh, that does not sound good. I'd be glamping, you know, if I went. I'd have an RV with everything, and then I'd be like, screw this. I'd have a shower. I'd be like, nah, I'm not going out there. Got a TV in here and food. Why don't you come in here and get cleaned up, hippie chick? This was a big story this week. Marvel reshuffled the entire Disney Plus TV schedule. Ironheart, Daredevil, and Wonder Man placed on indefinite hiatus, which is great news, I think. Ardent, more like, why do you want Pepper without Iron Man? Because she was in the lineup to the female Avengers shot in Endgame, and they're utterly obsessed with making that happen. Female Avengers. I think they're still going to try to do it. Ardent, I'd have the good sense to stay on higher ground. Yeah, if I wanted to get a spot in Burning Man, I'd want something on higher ground, but... Or I'd look at the weather and say, oh man, it's going to rain all weekend. Screw it, I'm not going to that thing. But, you know. So, Ironheart, gone. I didn't think they were going to get to produce this movie. The reception for the character was terrible. There's no fan base for it. Disney is bleeding money. Why even make this show? Just to lose more money? So, good riddance. Daredevil Born Again looked like it was going to destroy Daredevil. So, yeah, good that that's on the shelf. Razor Fist can breathe a sigh of relief, I think. Wonder Man looked probably just as bad, I'm going to guess. The guy they cast as Wonder Man, I don't think was right for the role. You need a guy who was like a bodybuilder to play Wonder Man. That was his whole character. He was like movie star, good looks, muscle guy who becomes a superhero. So, Clint Miller. Girl boss's rule is the new rule. Yeah. And they renamed Agatha Harkness, Coven of Chaos, to Agatha Harkness, the Darkhold Diaries. JC, why would you do a Wonder Man anything? Well, if you looked when this was developed, and I assume it was developed 3 or 4 years ago, they probably looked down the road and said, "Listen, we gotta pump the Marvel universe full of more IPs. Look at all the money we're making. What's the next IP?" And they probably went through the IPs and picked Wonder Man for whatever reason. I mean, they have better ones, but Wonder Man is on the list. So, Ardent, Ironheart was trash fire anyway. Wonder Man, wahahaha. JC, that's a worse title. Yeah, it is. Ardent, agreed. Yeah, Darkhold Diaries, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Ron Perlman, not the actor, but the CEO, business guy Ron Perlman, that took over Marvel Comics, or I think he took over Revlon, which bought Marvel Comics. This is before the Disney deal. His strategy, or at least the guys he worked for, or worked for him, seemed to be, okay, Marvel has 70% share of the market. Flood the shelves with product, and let's drive out the other 30% and let's take it. And so during that time, JC sounds like the Cuckold Diaries. Probably is. So Perlman's strategy, or the guy that worked for him, Clint Miller, JEC, my biopic. You're dating a woman half your age, Clint. So I think you're doing fine. So Darkhold was a mini series that was part of the Midnight Suns that was introduced during that era. And the Midnight Suns didn't do great because the market was so flooded with Marvel Comics. There were just too many characters and comics. Nobody wanted to buy them. Comic book fans spend about $20 to $30 a week on comics. That was about what they spent. This is back in the day. Early 2000s. 90s, early 2000s. I don't think much has changed. Maybe you could kick that up to 30 or 40 bucks. But the idea was, initially in the 80s, when I spent $20 a week, I got most of the Marvel comics. I got enough of them that I could follow what was going on in the Marvel universe and the DC universe too. Because comics were about $2 a piece. A couple of them were $3. Maybe you'd get a $4 comic if it was a double-sized or something. So I could buy, I don't know, 10 comics for $20? 20-something dollars, right? So with 10 comics, 6 of them are going to be from Marvel, 5 of them are going to be from DC, the rest are going to be various specials and indie comics, and then I got my giant pile of comics and I go home and I go read them. Now, you go into a comic book store, $20 gets you maybe 5 comics, if you're lucky. If you're lucky, it gets you 5 comics. Now, I got discounts at certain stores when I do buy, because I'm in with a lot of people at comic book stores. But even back then, I had good discounts, so I could get even more comics. But you know, now the comics are $4 and $5 a pop. You can only get 3 or 4 of them, so you can't follow Marvel and DC without spending $30 or $40, and that's a real problem. And the universes don't hold together. They've thrown most of the continuity out the window, so there's no reason to follow them. So they've split off into so many different things. I mean, this is why the comic book industry is a GD mess. Another reason. One of the many reasons. So, I mean, taking the Darkhold Diaries. I mean, first off, Agatha Harkness is not an IP worth doing a TV show about. I love the lead actress on this show. Don't get me wrong. She's really good. She should be in a comedy. She should be the lead in the comedy. It would be awesome. Her and Aubrey Plaza's going to be in it. It would have been a great comedy. But Agatha Harkness and whoever Aubrey Plaza's going to be, please. They're gonna get to be witches. I gotta admit, Aubrey Plaza being a sexy witch would be pretty hot, but I can't watch this. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be woke as F. Ardent, I remember buying TBBS for less than $10. Trade paperbacks. Yes. Now that's, I don't know. I don't know what the trades are anymore. The books are $4 and $5. There was a guy locally near me. He does The Vampires of New Jersey, and it's a really good comic. It's full color, and I don't think he has many ads in it. And he charges like $4.99 an issue, but it's a pretty full issue and it's full color. But like you're talking $4.99, $3.99 for a comic. It's a standard comic. It's like 38 pages, but only 21 pages are actual story, and maybe one of those pages is a splash page. So really, 20 pages. So you're almost half ads. That's what you're paying for. You're buying ads. And it's barely a story. You can't tell much of a story in that many pages. I've scripted these things. It was tough enough to do it for The Simpsons, where we wouldn't even get that many pages. I had to script like, oh, you get 10 pages for this story. But The Simpsons are a little easier because it's a little simpler. It's comedy. But for a comic book, I mean, you need some depth there. Nah, it's a joke. Ardent, last I looked, a TBB ran around $25-30 for a part story. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's outrageous. Ugh. This is why true comic fans, if you're true and you don't have an in like I do at half the stores in South Jersey, you just wait and go to a convention and everything's in the quarter bin or the dollar bin. You can get anything you want. Yeah, there'll be a handful of comics that are hot, they'll cost through the roof. You just don't read them. Nobody wants to read those anyway. You buy the old stuff. You buy the old stuff. You buy stuff from 3 years ago. It's worthless. It's worthless. It's in the dollar bin. These guys sell. If you go to there's a South Jersey show. It's called Chud. I forget what it stands for. It doesn't stand for what Chud did in the movie. It's has something to do with comic. I can't think of what it stands for. But anyway, my friend runs it, and he sells dollar comics all day long. And so if you buy 10, you get 1 free. If you buy 20, you get 3 free. Like all these different deals at these kinds of shows. You can walk out with stacks of comics for $20. Stacks. Like this. That's where I bought the entire run of American Flag, I think minus 1 or 2 issues, for $5. You could just buy thick stacks of runs of whatever you want. And I read all those American Flags, and they're brilliant, by the way. I still have them somewhere. Oh, American Flag, all day long. Howard Chaykin's American Flag, friggin' brilliant. I defy you to find one issue of Agatha Harkness anywhere. I didn't even think she had her own title. Maybe once. Ardent, I just have a hunt around on Kindle for older graphic novel storylines. That's the other thing too. Yeah, you can download stuff. Oh my God, I had a friend, he downloaded 500 issues of Batman for $50. I mean, the comic that's called Batman. So he got 1 through 500 for $50. I don't even know what's that break down to, 10 cents a comic? That's a pretty good deal. And now a lot of those are next to nothing. They're even cheaper now. That was when, Kite is here. Hello, Kite. Welcome to Piney. Kite got the little Piney sticker. There you go. Cool. Somebody finally bought one. I added Piney stickers to my chat. If you guys want, did it cost you anything? Does it cost money? I forget if I think it costs $1 or $2 or whatever. Cool. Somebody finally bought one. Neat. It's all green. Kite says, "Welcome to Piney." Or is that what it says when you buy it? I don't know. God, I'm a boomer on this thing. Ardent says hello. Anyhow, you can buy comics dirt cheap. And right now, nobody wants the new comics anyway. Everybody buys the old stuff anyway. So, who the hell is going in the comic book stores buying the new stuff? Oh, look at that. It comes up, your name comes up on green, and you get a little Piney thing next to you. Kite, good day. Finally able to lay down to rest. Oh, wow. And you got a little icon of Joan there, too. Did I put that? I guess I put that in, too. That makes sense. It's funny. So, yeah. I mean, you could get comics dirt cheap anywhere. Ardent. $5 a month in Canada. It's a membership. Oh. Like £5 a month. It's a sub, but I think you deserve it. Thank you, Kite. Now I will make more secret sub videos, whatever they are. I'll have to make one today. Anyhow, yeah, comics are dying. And they're still making movies and TV shows about them, but at least they now look like they're finally tapping the brakes. So Ironheart should never be made. Wonder Man, you might be able to make it, but it's a risk. He should be in, like, they should do an Avengers show. That would work, and you could put Wonder Man in it with a bunch of characters. That would work. Wonder Man, Tigra, all the second runs. Wonder Man, Tigra, Hercules. Who else could you throw in there? Black Knight. That's about it. I think there's one or two others I'm forgetting. That would work. And I think people would like that. You could do Avengers West Coast. That's basically who was in it. Wonder Man, Tigra, Hercules, Black Knight, and War Machine. Probably couldn't do War Machine because Don Cheadle would be too much money, but you could do the other guys. What else? Mark Millar claims superhero movie genre ended after Avengers Endgame, posits Marvel and DC are trying to course correct. Well, that's wishful thinking, isn't it? This is Mark Millar. Last week, I believe the same guys blamed him partly for the destruction of comics. Ardent, Squirrel Girl and the White Supremacy Vision. Kite, I won't be able to stay today because I have to be up early, but I'm glad to catch up, even this little section live. Thanks to all for your hard work, sir. Thank you, Kite. I really appreciate it. I'm going to make a secret video for members. Members only video. Appreciate you coming in. And finally, my stickers have worked. And that's about it. All right. Moving on to the Hollywood Reporter. Talking about The Killer. I mean, David Fincher directing and Michael Fassbender in the lead. It'll probably be a good movie, but it's something you've seen a million times. An assassin turns on his employers. An assassin with a heart of gold. Carter Chain. Tony D. Discord. When? Oh, man. Now you're going to ask me to learn another technology? I don't know, man. I don't know how to use Discord, okay? I'm in several Discords, and I go to them, and then I go, what is this? I don't know what to do. Clint, Kite, scroll up. Ardent's big news. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you missed big announcements, Kite. Ardent at Carter, just harass him to join the Sultans of Chatelet server. I think, am I on that one? I know I'm on Based Apes. But, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know when people are there. I don't understand what a Discord is. Is it a forum? Is it live chat? I don't know what I'm doing. And I have to do the Webcomic Factory, Super Frat. I've got to do articles for Clownfish TV, which I'm so far behind on. I've got to write my books. I've got to promote the books. I've got to get more events. I've got to get more freelance work because I need more work this month. And it's very hard. And now I have to make subscription videos. So, I don't know, man. I'll think about a Discord. I'll try to figure it out. All right. I can't wait any longer. I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to be right back. Don't go away. Chat amongst yourselves. Oh, I'll be right back. Couldn't wait. How sweet it is. That was from The Simpsons. Okay, I'm back. Oh, sorry. Ardent, LOL, I think you were on the Sultans. It's kind of like Facebook. Okay, I'll try to check in. Clint, Tony, do you have the Pineys fan site? I do not. Perhaps I should start one. I don't know. I guess I could start a Facebook one. I don't know. The Facebook... I don't know. Clint Miller, congrats to you and Stormy again, Ardent. That was the big news. Stormy and Ardent are getting married, by the way. Kite, I don't know if you're out yet. Yeah, I mean, I'd love a Pineys fan site. I don't know if there'd be enough people yet. But maybe. It's hard to get word out, man. It's hard enough to get people to buy the damn books, and they like them. Even though I'm on Amazon. Seems like, yeah, people should know where the Amazon link is. Maybe bookmark it. We're up to 12 books, by the way. In case you haven't known, we're at 12 books. Yeah, perhaps I need that. You know what I need? I'm going to need a wiki one day. I definitely want a wiki, a Pineys wiki, because there's a lot to explain in the Pineys. Telluride Awards analysis for Poor Things. Emma Stone will make a run at second best actress Oscar. So Emma Stone is in this movie called Poor Things, which is a feminist version of Frankenstein. And Mark Ruffalo as Dr. Frankenstein, by the way. Clint, I have some theories about Lewis and Hem. They fight like brothers. That's an interesting theory. Yeah, so this Emma Stone thing is a feminist Frankenstein. And I was going to do a trailer analysis, but I wasn't sure if it's a full-length movie or not, and then the trailer wasn't a full trailer, so I skipped it, but I haven't gone back to it. But it looks like one I'll have to go back to it, because it looks like it's going to be pretty funny. Especially with Mark Ruffalo as Dr. Frankenstein, and somehow I assume he's sexist. I already did my own version of Frankenstein in Superfrat. It was called Frankengine, and so you can look that up if you'd like. It was a whole story arc where one of the Superfrat characters, the one with the big brain, Bitter, decides if he can't get a girlfriend, he'll build one. So, and you can imagine the rest, I think. And the funniest part of Frankengine was when he hooked up her electrodes, he hooked them up to her nipples. Yeah, someday they'll find all that stuff. They'll woke when they go to cancel me. They'll find all the Superfrat strips, and oh boy, they're gonna be pissed. Forget about canceling the Pineys. Oh, they'll go right to Superfrat. Wait a minute, he made this too? Or they might just go to the webcomic factory to a little comic strip I do called T&A. So plenty of stuff to cancel me. Knock yourselves out. I look forward to my cancellation so I can finally start making money. And I thought about canceling myself to, starting my own cancellation to somehow juice my career, but I decided that would be too dishonest and could potentially backfire on me badly. There was another show, new dates for Echo, which is a show I think nobody wants. A show that they were originally, I think they reshot the whole thing at least once, and then they were going to cancel it anyway, but now they're bringing it back, I think because of the strike, because I guess it was right on the bubble. But then there's X-Men 97, which is another show that already sounds like they effed it up. So, quick recap. X-Men in the 90s was a big cartoon. It was pretty good. And then they made this big announcement. They were going to have X-Men 97. They were going to bring back the cartoon as it was in 97 and continue it. But then, of course, the rumor is now they're going to woke that up too. So now nobody cares. So, I don't know how they could do a 1997 thing and then woke it up so badly, but I guess it's Disney. I guess they could woke up anything. Oh, How I Met Your Father is canceled at Hulu. This was the female version of How I Met Your Mother. The Exorcist Believer moves up 1 week to avoid Taylor Swift's showdown. That's interesting because I thought they could maybe do the, like they did Barbenheimer, they could do Taylor Swiftercist. Like, the girls could go see Taylor Swift and the guys could go see The Exorcist. Could work, but now they can't do it. They moved it up a week. The Exorcist is still one of the greatest horror movies you'll ever see. If you haven't seen it, oh man, it's good. It's so good. But like most of the sequels are so terrible. So I don't know. This one has one of the original cast members in it. It might be good. It's kind of a direct sequel. After many years, maybe they finally got it right, but oh man, nothing beats that first movie. Oh man, it's so good. I love The Exorcist. It kind of messed me up the first time I saw it. I was like, ooh. All right, moving on. Cosmic book news. The Marvels cuts George Clooney bait and switch scene for possibly Nova, is the rumor. So they were talking about a Nova movie. That got canned a while ago. Now there's rumor they had a scene with George Clooney in the Marvels, but they cut it? I don't know, man. I don't know what character he would have played. Probably some alien, or maybe a fantasy in the heads of one of the characters. But this movie, I mean, Clooney would be right to say, ooh, I'm not making a cameo in this thing. The rumor is Feige cut this movie to the bare bones. It's going to be like a tight 90. Definitely going to be under 2 hours. Think that's wise. to make it short. I think short will be better because even if it's terrible, short will it'll mitigate some of its terribleness. Clint, do you think a remake can even hold a candle to the original Exorcist? No. But that's not a remake. That's a sequel. But it might be good. I mean, they could make a good... The thing is, you can't... When you do a sequel to a movie that's great, you have to make it very different. You have to take the same risk that the first movie took. When The Exorcist came out, I don't remember the year. This was the era. There wasn't a lot of horror movies, and when they came out, like the only other horror movie out around that time was Rosemary's Baby, and that one was very scary too. So there wasn't a lot of these movies out, and it was more mainstream. It wasn't like a schlocky horror movie. It was like a serious movie that just happened to be horror. So that's the way they approached this. And you have to understand, in the 70s, they crafted movies. There were real actors in them. These were people who came from Broadway or off-Broadway productions. They were actual actors. They weren't like pop stars or people who were from TV. You were a movie actor or a TV actor in the 70s, number one. If you were on TV, it was nearly impossible for you to get into movies for a long time in the 70s. You were better off being a movie actor because that was considered high prestige. Even if you were in a terrible movie, a B movie, you were considered better, quote unquote. You were considered box office than even today. When me and my friend tried to get financing for one of our movies, we pitched Angeline Lilly. This is before the Marvel movies, before she had been on Lost, but she hadn't been in any big movies. And they said, that is a terrible pick. And we said, why? She's been on Lost. She's a really good actress. And they said, because she's not box office. So some of that holds today, not as much, because thankfully the celebrities have destroyed themselves mostly. But still, it is a factor. But the people you would have in movies would be real actors, because the TV actors were considered not real actors. They were soap stars and like guys who were in anything. And they were in a lot of terrible things. They were in variety shows in the 70s, and they were all terrible. They would host things. They would do things that were not serious actor things, whereas movie actors were always in movies. And so they had more of this prestige, and a lot of them were better actors because of that. It's just the way they were, just the way they were. It was difference between a guy from a sitcom and a guy who had been in, 10 B movies or whatever. And Clint Miller, The Awakening of 1980 was one of my favorite horror movies. The Awakening. I don't remember that one. Let's take a look. The Awakening. Oh, it looks like... Here it is, 1980. Charlton Heston. Okay. An archaeologist discovers his daughter's possessed by the spirit of an Egyptian queen. To save mankind, he must destroy her. Charlton Heston. Wow, I don't remember this at all. Clint Miller, starring Charlton Heston. Yeah, there it. I don't see him in this. Oh, there he is. Well, the trailer looks really exciting. I'll tell you that. Ardent, Prince of Darkness, with Alice Cooper cameo for me. Prince of Darkness. $1987? John Carpenter. Oh, well. I assume this is awesome. If it's John Carpenter. Ardent. Clint. Ardent, another good one. Who directed the other one? Mike Newell. Doesn't write. Writer Alan Scott, Chris Bryant, Clive Exton. I mean, anything with Charlton Heston. Sign me up. He's just one of those actors. You got to see him. For me, horror movies besides The Exorcist. Now this is The Shining. I really love Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. What else? There's lots of them. I mean, The Exorcist, though, top notch. Top notch. Yeah, so this, going back to this Marvels thing, it's just the whole movie's going to be a dumpster fire. And Feige apparently cut it down to like 90 minutes or real tight. I don't know how this movie could possibly be any good with a musical number in it. And it's 90 minutes. Like, the only thing I think is the movie will be short enough that people will leave going, well, it was all right. Because they won't have to sit through too much. And that'll be somewhat of a relief to them. Gremlins versus Ghoulies, says Ardent. Oh, Gremlins is always good. I wouldn't consider that a horror movie, though. Gremlins versus... Ghoulies? Do you mean the two different movie franchises? I haven't seen Ghoulies, so probably be Gremlins all the way for me. I like Gremlins. It's fun. The Ghoulies, the toilet scene, LOL, says Clint. I do vaguely remember that. What else? What else? I think that was it here. Over Deadline. More from Venice. Oh, Sean Penn has a movie out too. I forget what it is. He also had a documentary about Ukraine out. Maybe that's it. God, what an embarrassment. What an embarrassment to Hollywood. Ardent, sorry, yes, two different franchises. I do remember Ghoulies now. And definitely remember Gremlins. I'm a Gremlins guy. I watched... Which one is it where there's the TV stations? Is that 2? Gremlins 2? That's the one I really like. That one's very funny. Where all the TV stations and the studio, the Gremlins taking over. Ben Stiller, Jessica Chastain, Sean Penn, and I don't know who else in Hollywood visited Zelensky. But man, they're going to have a lot to answer for. They're going to have a lot to answer for. Because Ukraine is not going to end well. Either way, it doesn't end well. Here's how Ukraine ends. Either World War III, in which case everything ends. Sayonara. I'll tell you now. Or most likely, the way I think the Ukraine ends is eventually, whether it's a year and a half from now or, the entire Biden administration collapses under its own weight, the money for Ukraine will dry up. The Russians will take at least the land they have now, if not more of it. They'll push for a peace treaty. The Russians basically will get what they want. The Russians want warm water ports. They have nuclear subs. This is their deterrent. They need warm water ports because the ports that they have freeze every year. That's why they need Syria, because Syria has there's a Russian base there, naval base. It's for their subs because that's a warm water port. I think they have one other, but the Crimea was never going to go to anybody else. The Russians would start World War III because they can't lose the Crimea. That's one of their main water ports, warm water ports. And with the taking of land in Ukraine, they now have, I think, at least room to build at least another one or two. And they're going to control it. Ardent, Sean Penn loaned Zelensky his Oscar, LOL. Yeah, that was This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen an actor do. And I thought Penn was at least smart enough to not do that. I mean, it's one thing to go visit him. It's another thing to offer his Oscar up like Zelensky's some sort of god. And Zelensky will be exposed for there's only two things that are going to happen to Zelensky. Either he gets assassinated, which I think is very likely, in which case then Hollywood is saved because they'll martyr him like this great man who was killed in his prime, protecting his country, blah, blah, blah. Or the most likely scenario is, with his $600 million or more, Zelensky flees the country as it collapses and ends up in Hollywood, probably, eventually, getting his own damn TV show or living the life of luxury. If he's smart, he won't come to Hollywood, because I think the Hollywood guys will be like, get the hell away from us. We have to forget what we did for you. Because the Ukraine will go down the tubes, and it's likely what's left of the Ukraine will be handed over to the Ukrainians, or the, how do I say this? Bad guys from Germany, but new? Those guys who are running rife in the Ukrainian military? Yeah, those guys. They're going to take over the country. They might kill Zelensky or drive him out. And then, I don't know, they'll have some tin pot dictator running the country, and he'll have a ton of weapons, and it'll be more like North Korea. The latest thing is the Biden admin says it wants to turn it into a, quote, bigger version of Israel, where we pour billions of dollars into Ukraine to protect it. And I assume, I don't know, there's a giant wall at some point because they get walls and we don't. Ardent, Yakov Smirnoff, Zelensky, Perfect Strangers reboot. Yeah, there you go. No, I swear to God, Zelensky probably thinks he's coming here to star in his own Netflix series or to produce movies, which he gets to appear in briefly, because he is an actor. He has millions of dollars. He could just make his own damn movie. Yeah, it's going to be an S show. And it's going to be a country run by the bad guys from Germany reboots. But nobody will care, because there'll be a gangster state. Everybody will be killing each other. It'll be a horrific time for the Ukrainian people again, thanks in no small part to the Russians and us, who we will end up abandoning them. Whether it's Biden or the next guy, we will end up abandoning the Ukrainians because we won't be able to give them enough money to keep fighting this war. And if we don't, the bad guys from Germany reboot take over. And then we can't give them any more money. And that'll be the excuse not to give them any more money. It'll say, oh, you've got bad guys from Germany rebooting there. We can't give you any more money, even though they've been there the entire time. They're constantly being exposed. In fact, the little play the FBI just put on this week, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox. I'll get off in a minute. With the bad guys from Germany reboot that are here in Florida. I don't know if you saw the little play the FBI put on. They were praising the Biden administration for their support of the Ukraine because of the bad guys from Germany reboot in the Ukraine. Isn't YouTube great? So we can't talk sensibly about things that are important, like giving billions of dollars to a country that's utterly corrupt. Again, if I was a Ukrainian, I'd probably be old enough to at least remember my older relatives being completely devastated by the events prior to World War II and during World War II in the Ukraine. And I'd probably have nothing but contempt for the Russians and probably want to kill every one of them that I saw if I could get my hands on weapons in the Ukraine, if I was a Ukrainian. But I'm not. and it's not my fight. And I feel bad for the Ukrainians, but I think this was the poor way to go. You've ratcheted up everything. We were closer to a peace before all this mess happened. We could have completely avoided this mess. But unfortunately, people used the Ukrainians again for political gain. And it just sucks. Oh my God, another ad? Clint Miller, another ad. Let me see if I can see my own ad. No, it doesn't show me the ad. It only stops my rolling. I'm ranting on the internet. All right, is it over? Is it over? Is the ad over? Jesus Christ. How long's this commercial? I could probably do better commercials than the ones on YouTube. Oh. All right, I'm back. Anyhow, ran about Ukraine. I'll just recap. Ukrainians have had it tough for many, many years. They're being used politically again. It sucks, but continuing to use them isn't the answer. And to throw billions of dollars at them is definitely not the answer. It's going into Zelensky's pocket and the pockets of weapons manufacturers. It's hardly going to help the Ukrainians. They're all being killed. Ardent, LOL. Anyhow, moving on from politics, assuming YouTube isn't out to axe me now. Venice Film Festival 2023, all of the Deadline movie reviews, if you want to see that. Oh, here it says David Fincher's The Killer got a 6-minute ovation. Somebody timed that incorrectly. I heard 5 minutes. Metallica postpones Sunday concert in Arizona because of guitarist COVID-19. RL is here. Hello, RL. Have you seen the Equalizer 3 yet? I have not, but it looks cool. I think I saw the first one. I don't know if I ever saw the second one. But I like him in that role. I think it works. I would see it. Even though I didn't see the second one. But they're not so connected. You have to see them in order. I wonder if it's on one of my platforms. But I would totally see the Equalizer. I like movies where guys shoot people in the face. And it's a mafia thing, too. Because it takes place in Italy. So probably Camorra. That'll be cool. All right, over at Bleeding Fool, director Wes Anderson blasts woke editors of Roald Dahl's books. Good for him. A little late, but good for him. Jimmy Buffett died, if any of you didn't hear that. Yeah, that was about it for this. Wes Anderson's doing a Roald Dahl story for his next film. I think it's going to be an anthology film. It's a 37-minute short. That doesn't sound like a short, but okay. Should be interesting. I mean, I don't normally associate short movies with Wes Anderson, but there you go. Maybe he could finally start a new trend of shorter movies, damn it. Oh, here we go. Film Festival, Venice. A letter from Venice, a film festival without stars, has a hole in the center. Well, in the upshot, at least they're not spouting about politics. I mean, it's definitely got to help the Marvels. If they manage this, if this strike continues, all the way to November. Ardent, Jimmy Buffett, yes. Clint Eastwood, no. Facebook rumor. Oh, God. Don't scare me like that. Clint is forever. Don't scare me. You know who died too was Bill Richardson, who was the former governor of New Mexico and ambassador extraordinaire, I'll say. He was considered a high-level diplomat, and like no one has talked about it. And Biden even Biden said something about Jimmy Buffett, but no one has talked about poor Bill Richardson, who also died basically like the day after or the same day. Kind of rough. Kind of rough when you die at the same time as a super famous person like Jimmy Buffett, right? You just like, oh yeah, Bill Richardson. Whatever happened to that guy? Oh, he died. He did? Oh yeah, he died when Jimmy Buffett died. Oh. That's rough. That's a rough way. But, like, he wasn't famous, so I guess it doesn't matter. But still, though. Even Bill Richardson could have been useful in getting peace in the Ukraine. And somehow, Henry Kissinger's still alive. That guy's like 90-something? He is old. Even Henry Kissinger could probably bring peace in the Ukraine. They're going to have peace in the Ukraine eventually. Eventually, they'll just be like, okay, the war's over. We can't prop this up anymore. It's just ridiculous that it's even gone on this long. And we still do run the risk of it blowing up into World War III. And that's really, really dangerous. These people don't care. Ardent, Farrah Fawcett died the morning of Michael Jackson's death. Yeah. Yep. Clint Miller, didn't Farrah Fawcett die the same day Michael Jackson died? Yep. Yeah, I had the same kind of reaction, like, oh my God, Michael Jackson's dead. And then a couple of years later, it was like, Farrah Fawcett, what happened to Farrah Fawcett? And it was like, Google. Oh, how did I not know she died? But she had, I believe she died of cancer. She was suffering for a long time. Michael Jackson was kind of a shock because he basically OD'd. Oh, here's more Burning Man. Fox News reporter stuck at Burning Man says stranded attendees are supporting each other. We're still finding fun. Okay. Doesn't sound too desperate yet. I mean, it could be worse. He could be like, the hippies are eating each other. Oh, it's carnage. Ardent, yep, like 6 hours earlier. Jeez. Oh, man, Farrah Fawcett. Yeah, she was the it girl. She was the Margot Robbie of her day. That poster got a lot of use back in the 70s when posters were still a thing. I never thought she was that good looking, though. I really didn't. I saw Farrah Fawcett poster. I'm like, yeah, she's pretty hot, but not that hot. Yeah, nah, I didn't think so. Now, Heather Locklear, she was smoking. She was absolutely smoking. And oddly, I don't think they had a poster of her. She should have had a poster. Farrah Fawcett, I mean, she's hot, but like, I thought the other Charlie's Angels were hotter. You know. What's the brunette? What's her face? Jacqueline Smith. But she, I don't know. She was only in bathing suits in the show. Ardent must have been the hair. I guess it was very 70s, early 80s hair. I mean, she wasn't unattractive. I thought she was still hot, but she was my least favorite angel. I liked all the other ones. Cheryl Tiegs to me was hot. She had a poster. Wasn't as popular, but she was pretty hot, I thought. Ardent always had a thing for Myrna Loy and Claudette Colbert. They're cute. Old-timey. In their old-timey ways. For the old-timey pinup girls, what's her name? Jane Mansfield, I thought was hot. Marilyn Monroe was hot. Depended on the picture of her. But yeah, she could be really, really hot in the right picture. Samantha Fox was poster girl when I was a teen. I did enjoy Samantha Fox. Yeah, she was pretty hot. I wasn't into her music, but she was hot enough I'd go, if I bought her music, I'd have a picture of her. Lita Ford was another one of that era. But I thought Samantha was hotter. And there were just a lot of generic girls who were pinup girls in the 80s. I remember in my college dorm, James Mansfield, Marilyn Monroe, Olivia Newton-John. She was okay. She was more girl next door look. Not really a pinup girl, I thought, but cute. Ardent, Lita Ford. In my college dorm, I had a bunch of pinup girls in my dorm. I don't know why. I just put them up there. I thought it would be cool. I think because my previous roommate, I eventually got myself a single, and my previous roommate had the dumbest posters imaginable, and I would always say to him, why don't you have girl posters? But I got a bunch of hot girl posters and put them up for some reason, and I don't know. But they were nobodies. Like, it wasn't Lita Ford or anybody. They were just like hot girls, hot random girls. I don't know where I got them. I think I won them on the boardwalk. Bob Barker died this week, of course. That was sad. It was really mean, I thought. I forget which. I think it was the New York Post. Posted the most horrible picture of the guy in a wheelchair looking all disheveled. Like, the guy dies, and that's the picture you use of him. Is like, oh, Bob Barker in his last days. It's like, he had a wife. He had money. He wasn't, like, living in a home. It made him look like he was, he's cast out on the street. But they had some tributes to him this week. Oh, the strikes. Nothing really going much with the strikes other than they're continuing. The IATSE workers are thinking about striking. That would be 3. That would be the trifecta of strikes. I don't think they're any closer. I don't think they want to end the strikes yet. I think they want to really wear people down. Ardent? Yeah, it's like the way they showed Stan Lee after he died. Yeah. Although Stan Lee, there were rumors of elder abuse, so maybe. But, I don't know. When you get that old, it's like, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. Now, I have older relatives. Some of them in my family, they're that age, and they still move around. They still drive and farm. God bless them. They still move around. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. So don't stop moving. Ever. But yeah, the strikes, I think they're really going to crush the unions. I think they're going to lose big time this time. Either they're going to make a deal, they'll be forced into a deal they don't like. I mean, I don't even know if Disney's going to be around at the rate they're going. They may just say, we're not going to use union people anymore. Go F yourselves. We're going to use AI and with employees for our movies. I mean, they might as well. They're putting out the most unbelievable crap. I mean, yeah, okay, all the celebrities will say, oh, we can't work for you anymore. Will Disney even care? Does anybody care about celebrities anymore? NBC Universal extends health coverage for non-union crew during double strike. Well, that seems nice. I can't believe NBC Universal won't just settle the strike for them, because they're super woke, right? You think they'd be all about the unions. Just settle that. Just start paying people. No one's stopping you. SAG board seeks authorization for second strike against video game companies. So, I think this is a dumb move because, I mean, you're going to strike against the video game companies. Those guys really don't need you. if any industry doesn't need actors, it's the video game companies. They've tried to incorporate actors in it. I don't think it's done them a bit of good. And back in the day, they never used to use actors. It was considered like, I mean, the only actor I ever saw in a video game that really did good, Ardent Night, y'all. Oh, I forgot to read your other one. Need sleep. I'm dropping out. If you're interested, I'll be on Discordant Dragons with Yiz the Eunuch tomorrow night. Okay, check that out. Sounds cool. Night all. Good night, Ardent. Thanks for tuning in. What time is it? Oh my God, it's 9:37. I gotta start getting to the end of this. Anyhow, yeah, I think if anybody could be replaced, like today, right now, the actors could in video games. AI could completely take it over, and you could have perfectly functional video games. The only actor, though, I can think of who really added something to a video game was Ray Liotta in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. He was awesome in that. But even that, I mean, some people didn't even realize it was Ray Liotta. And the acting doesn't really come through that strongly. And there were a few people in that game. Jenna Jameson was in it. I forget who else. You could have gotten an AI to get close enough that would have kind of sounded like a guy like him. Same thing with Jenna. So, I don't think they need you, but you can strike against them if you want, I guess. But here was the biggest cringe of the week. Late Night Host Podcast Strike Force 5 tops Spotify Apple charts in debut week. Listen to this nightmare. Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, John Oliver, Stephen Colbert, and Jimmy Fallon. Just them hosting a podcast talking to each other for an hour. And Jimmy Fallon didn't even sound like he was into it. Said something like, I guess we're going to talk an hour. Like he wasn't sure he should even be on the show. John Oliver couldn't figure his web camera out. He had like way too much headroom. And they all sat in the dingiest room in their massive mansions, I guess, to shoot this thing. And who the hell would want to see it? It felt like boomers doing the webcam thing. It was really cringy. Even my folks who love to watch these shows, they still watch these shows. They love Jimmy Kimmel. They've watched Seth Meyers. They've watched John Oliver, Stephen Colbert, and all five of them. They watch all five of them. I've seen them watch all five of them. I don't think they even knew this was on. I don't think they would watch it if they did. So, and they have millions and millions of fans on television, millions of fans on Twitter, X, and I think they got 5,000 people at one point at the peak of their live stream. That's not a lot of people for allegedly millions of fans. Allegedly. So, super cringe. Super cringe. Primal creator Jendi Tartakovsky says he views season 2 as a love triangle between two dinosaurs and a caveman. If you haven't seen Primal, you really should. It's really good. It's really good. Clint Miller, Gutfield is so much better. I like Gutfield. He's okay. He needs better joke writers. I would like to work for Gutfield. I would love to punch up his material because he's just underneath where he needs to be. He needs to go one more level up and really nail some jokes. He's amusing, but he's not nailing it every time. And I wish he would go that extra mile. I wish he had funnier guys. But he's okay. I enjoy him. Maybe it's because he's not trying to be that funny. I don't know. But I like that he's more relaxed. The other guys seem to be very tense. Underneath their sort of pleasant facade, there's a tension underneath all those guys. Especially Stephen Colbert and especially Jimmy Kimmel. They feel very tense underneath. The only one out of those Strike Force 5 guys that I can even tolerate now is maybe Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, maybe a little bit, only because Jimmy is so basic B when it comes to being a late night talk show host. He's almost neutral because he's willing to pimp anybody who comes on his show. I mean, he had Donald Trump on his show and he got blasted for it. But even when he started, I was like, oh God, this guy sucks. So Stephen Colbert is the one that's a really disappointment, though. Cannot express enough how disappointed I am in Stephen Colbert's transformation. But this Primal cartoon is really good. It has almost no dialogue. It's one of those cool shows with no dialogue where just things happen and you gotta watch. It's so awesome if you haven't seen it. All right. I think we're just about done here. What am I on here? Oh, am I on the wrap? Yeah, I'm on the wrap. I'm on the wrap, and they get into politics way too much for a trade magazine. Look at this. Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace criticizes abortion bans. We cannot be a-holes to women. This is the wrap. It's supposed to be about movies and TV shows. Just unbelievable. All right. I think that's it. I think we're at the end. Okay. I'm going to start to wrap it here. So let's recap. Geez, I didn't even get to talk about the one thing I wanted to talk about. Let me talk about it just briefly. So this week I did a trailer analysis of the Book of Clarence. Did anybody come here for that? Is there anybody lurking in the chat who came here to have me talk about the Book of Clarence? Because now here's your big payoff. Here's your chance to blast me. So I got blasted by in the comment section about the Book of Clarence trailer reaction. And if you watch the trailer, you can see it's kind of been cut like a comedy. And as I said in my analysis, it's not funny. I just didn't find the trailer funny at all. It feels like a very lazy comedy. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, it's not supposed to be a comedy. To which I ask, what is it then? And nobody can seem to answer that question. I guess you could call it biblical historical fiction, because the premise of the movie is Jesus, it takes place during the time of Jesus, right before his crucifixion, and Clarence is another guy who lives at that time, and most of the cast is black. So Clarence is black, and him and his friend see Jesus, and they go, I'm going to be Jesus. Clarence does. So basically it's a hustle for him. So he starts his own, cult compared to Jesus, and starts preaching. And at first he doesn't make any money, doesn't get any attention. They tell him perform a miracle. So him and his friends fake him being blind, and then he pretends to heal him, and then people start paying attention to him, and he starts making money. But then the Romans start paying attention to him, and then the Romans capture him, and the Romans are James McAvoy and I think Benedict Cumberbatch, although he's not in the trailer. And then there's a scene where they arrest Clarence, who's now in nice clothes, and they basically tell him, walk on water, to prove you're the son of God, or wherever he said he was. And of course, they didn't show you that, so I don't know if he actually walks on water or if he falls in the water and the Romans are like, aha! But I don't know. But the movie is supposed to be a comedy, at least it's cut that way, but it's not funny, and it's not particularly historically accurate, because I think most of the cast is black, and it would seem to fly in the face of the demographics at that time in Jerusalem. But there's some debate on that in the comment section, because immediately there were some super religious people who said, oh, no. Jerusalem was actually located in Africa. And I was like, that's not true. But it's kind of irrelevant, because if it's a comedy, it has to be funny. If it's not a comedy, let's say it's biblical historical fiction, it has to be accurate to the time period up to a point. I mean, obviously, if it's biblical historical fiction and you're going to add some stuff to it, okay, you could add Clarence or whatever. I compare it to The Life of Brian, only it's not funny. Like, The Life of Brian is very much a satire about religion. I guess this is supposed to be a satire, but it's just not very good in my view. And it's the same guy who made The Harder They Fall, which I also criticized for similar reasons, and because it just wasn't historically accurate, and it wasn't particularly funny, and the heroes don't really act like heroes. That was another problem with the movie. Clarence doesn't really act like a hero. He just is out for himself, in the trailer at least. So anyhow, the Book of Clarence doesn't look very good, and yet I got blasted in the comments, and I got over 1,000 views on that video. Now, my channel flatlined about 2.5 weeks ago. About 20 views if I was lucky. And in fact, I got some hater blasted me, "Oh, you don't have any views. You're not even a real screenwriter," kind of thing. Which I banned him from the channel because I don't need to take that crap. So I'm just wondering how YouTube suddenly gives me 1,000 views because, I don't know, there's controversy. They algorithmically raise me up, or let my Clarence video go up the charts, but the rest of my videos just die. And I even made a second Clarence video as a follow-up to the first one, and that one didn't do any better either. It's weird. The algorithm on YouTube is effed. Meanwhile, at the other platforms, it's just one of my regular videos. So, just a little insight into the channel and the Book of Clarence if you care about that movie. Plenty of other better movies coming out, I would say. And if you're into religious stuff, I don't even know why you would want to see it. Because to me, it would be technically blasphemy. I don't think he intends it as to offend people, but when you do stuff like that, you're technically blaspheming. And the religious people don't like that unless you're going to praise God somehow. So it's like The Last Temptation of Christ. It could be a good movie, but it's technically blasphemy. So, I don't know, man. Anyhow, that was my week dealing with the channel, but at least I got 1,000 hits. So I made like, I don't know, $5 off that video. Anyhow, speaking of videos, I got to make a few more before I go to bed. I got to make one for Kite now that I have a subscriber, and he's got my stickers. Could this be the start of subscriber? I don't know. Anyhow, Store Bang, more engagement gasses the algorithm. I guess, I don't know. I don't want to go down that path of being like a jerk. I don't want to do that just to appeal to the algorithm. But why is the algorithm like dividing us? Why doesn't the algorithm just... The old algorithm was better because things would rise up based on the search of certain things. See, my movies and stuff, my videos should rise up because the movie I'm talking about is interesting. Like, the Book of Clarence hasn't even come out yet. But my analysis on Barbie, for instance, that should have gotten more engagement. I did okay on that one. I think I got 600 hits on that. But I think my Barbie trailer, based on the fact that so many people went to see the movie, more people would have been probably interested in seeing my trailer analysis, even after the fact. So, I don't know. I don't know, YouTube. Anyhow, final thoughts, and we're going to wrap this thing. Zebek, YouTube wants a Piney show. Doesn't want to hear about Barbie. Can I do a Piney show? I don't know if I could do a Piney show. I guess I could go out with the camera. I'd have to go out with the camera. I couldn't do it live. I guess I could figure out how to do live. Can you do live on YouTube? Walking around? I guess I could on my phone. Right? Another technology to master. Zebek, more Hemingway, less Barbie. Yeah, that's what the world needs. More Hemingway Galloway. Yeah, what I need is more guns to go out in the woods and shoot. But then I wouldn't be able to show that on YouTube either. I think they have a whole problem with shooting if I used actual guns in my videos. I don't YouTube, by the way. That's a prop gun I'm using in the Hemingway videos. I have prop guns. They don't work. I used them. I was shooting a thing called Zombie Country. Clint Miller, Tony with the Blueberry Millionaires. There we go. I wish I knew a blueberry millionaire. When I drive through Hamilton, there's a house that it's one of the blueberry millionaires' house. And for those of you who don't know, I'm talking about what happened in South Jersey was in the early 1900s, they cultivated blueberries in Whitesbog, New Jersey for the first time. The current blueberries, that's where they were cultivated. Before that, they were just they existed, but they were just kind of random berries. Nobody grew blueberries before this. So they cultivated a particular strain of blueberries that were round and tasty and yummy, and took them a few years, but they did it. And a few towns over was Hamilton. The Hamilton farmers got a hold of these blueberries and said, "Oh, okay, we like these. These sound like a good idea. We're going to grow the blueberry." So they started growing them, and they were insanely popular right out the gate. So blueberries at that time, and well, to this day, but at this time they were only grown in South Jersey. And the blueberry season is only about 2 weeks long. A lot of people don't know that. You only get about 2 weeks worth of growing off a blueberry bush. And you got to protect them too, because the deer will come right out and eat them. So my dad used to grow blueberries in his little farm down in Blue Anchor, and he had to install motion sensors around the blueberries with sprinklers to keep the deer off them, because one year they came in and ate all the blueberries. And that's a huge hit, because what you have to understand is the deer won't eat them while they're green, right? So the deer are always around, and they come up, maybe they sniff the blueberries when they're dead green and they don't eat them, and then maybe they get a little riper and they still don't eat them, and then they turn blue and now they're just about ready to pick, and then they come in and they eat all the blueberries if you let them. So that's what happened to my dad one year, and he was very mad. Not that I blame him. There was almost no blueberries. There were a few left, but not many. The deer just came in and started eating them all. So in the early 1900s, the Hamilton farmers started growing blueberries and selling them, and they would grow, acres and acres and acres of these blueberries, package them and send them out to stores, and they were insanely popular, and they became millionaires overnight in the 1940s, 30s, 40s. So the blueberry millionaires happened. They expanded their operations, and eventually other people around the world started growing blueberries too now. But still, Hamilton is considered the blueberry capital of the world, and we had the most millionaires per capita in any town in America for many years. I'm not sure if that still holds true today. I think it doesn't, but up until maybe 10 years ago, that was true. Because of that, we have blueberry millionaires. So I drove past this house one day in Hamilton, and he has a wrought iron fence on this very large estate. He has tennis courts. He has a pool. He has a massive house. It's a blueberry millionaire house. It's the house that when the zombies come, that's the house I'm probably going to, because it already has plenty of defenses. And if the blueberry millionaire is a zombie, well, then I could just take it. If it's not, it maybe he'll let me in. I don't know. Zebek, I grow blueberries. No, you do? Where do you grow them, Zebek? Clint Miller, some of the South Jersey farms are still huge. Yeah, they're slowly being eaten away, though. Zebek, not a millionaire. Well, you weren't born in the 1920s when they started growing them. Clint Miller, sorry to hear that, Zebek. Yeah, that's a bummer. Are you really? Are you a farmer, Zebek? What part of the world are you in? Are you in South Jersey? West Coast Canada. Oh, okay. West Coast Canadian blueberries. I don't think I've had them. I eat blueberries year round. So usually after the blueberry season is done here, it goes right back to like Peru blueberries, California blueberries. Michigan has a blueberry season. I'm not sure when it is. I think it's before ours. And a few other places. Zebek, no, just have a good garden. The yields on blueberry bushes are just, they're so tight though. I don't know. I wish I could grow blueberries. I have a black thumb. Although this year, spontaneously, a cherry tomato plant grew in my yard right at the fence. I'm not sure why. I don't think I threw any cherry tomatoes there. It might be a plant that grew out of my neighbor's garden on the other side and just happened to branch off where I'm on my side. But I'm gonna have, if I'm lucky, I'll get 8 cherry tomatoes off this thing. But what happens every other time I grew tomatoes in my own yard, I have so many critters that live in my immediate vicinity. They were instantly eaten the moment they turned red. So I grew tomatoes one year in like a box. I thought a raised box would keep them off of it. And I got 1 tomato, I think, maybe 2 or 3. But that 1 tomato, it turned orange, and I was like, I'm gonna have a tomato pretty soon. And it came out the next day, and it was a little redder, and something had eaten half of it already. That's probably that stupid skunk. It was either the skunk or the squirrel or the possum or the groundhog. I have all these things in my yard. The moles. I have a very tiny yard. You may have seen it in one of my previous videos. I have all these damn animals coming in and out of my yard. It's ridiculous. I have a fence all the way around it. They go right under the fence. Joan chases them out. They get in anyway. The squirrels come over the fence. The groundhog and the skunk go right under. Rabbits. I have rabbits too. Saw rabbits one night. What chance do my tomatoes have? Again, you could put up chicken wire or whatever, but I haven't done that. So, Clint Miller, blueberries and asparagus in South Jersey. Yes, asparagus is another big crop here. Was big. Still is big over in Mullica Hill. Zevik, I had pumpkins volunteer themselves this year. 10 pumpkins so far. Not bad for planting pumpkins. Yep, they grow pretty good, the pumpkins. They're pretty resilient. Same thing with like watermelons. You throw some watermelon seeds from like one year I threw like a slice of watermelon in the bushes in front of my house, and next year I had watermelons. They just grew. So, yeah, pumpkins are easy. Tomatoes are easy too in South Jersey. Very easy. Again, you could just literally drop the seed somewhere and probably you'll get... Oh, you know what I got all over my yard? Tiny little strawberries. Because I ate strawberries one time. I would bite everything but the tops and then throw them into the yard. And now I've got little tiny strawberries everywhere. But the thing with strawberries are, with every successive growth, they usually get smaller. So now I have the tiniest little strawberries in my yard. They're just growing in the grass. Clint Miller, collards and cowpeas. Those I don't know much about. Cowpeas, are they regular peas? Collards, I don't think I've grown. Well, I shouldn't say me. My father does all the growing. He grows tomatoes, peppers. He did blueberries. He's done with that. He did raspberries. He's done with that. He did peaches. He's done with that. He got caught up in it. We had a big mold here. It killed all the peach trees. He did apples. He took those out too. What else? He does a lot of peppers and tomatoes. That's his main thing. He'll do onions, but it's another short window. He does lettuce, a really short window. You want to talk about short windows. lettuce. I don't even know how they grow so much lettuce. The window is so friggin' short. That thing goes to seed. You'll never eat it. Clint Miller, black-eyed peas equal cowpeas. Oh, yeah, okay. Now I know them. Clint Miller, I planted a tomato cultivator called Great White. It doesn't turn red. Huh. Interesting. I've had the yellow tomatoes. And then there are green tomatoes. Not the unripe red tomatoes, but they're actual tomatoes that they don't turn anything. They're just green. They turn a different color green, I think. And the purple tomatoes. But I have not had the white tomatoes. I will tell you that the yellow, green, and purple ones taste exactly the same. The yellow ones are a little odd because they just look weird, and you get them and they're like, are these ripe? You want to think they're not ripe when you eat them, but they're fine. Yeah, and so my dad, he'll grow. Sometimes he'll grow peas. He'll grow string beans. That's early in the season, and he grows a ton of flowers, but mostly peppers and tomatoes. I actually just helped them tear out the tomato stakes. We put them in this year, and he bought this thing from John Deere. It's a weighted thing designed to hammer in stakes so you don't hurt yourself, because we were using a sledgehammer and sometimes you miss or it breaks the stake and you could hit somebody's hand. So this thing goes over the entire stake and you just pound it down like this. And it's heavy enough that it's like a hammer. It's kind of awkward, but it works. But he's so insistent to have the stakes be even at the same height. I ended up hammering him in really deep, and so when we went to pull him out the first time, I couldn't get the damn stakes out. We had to get the shovel out to dig them out. And then the second time it rained and they pulled right out. But Zevik, human pile driver. Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was pretty handy, I'll say, but the problem is my dad gets these stakes, they're not pointy at the end. So you're basically pushing like a fist through the dirt. Because it costs too much to get them pointy. It's just... And plus they break all the time. I broke a bunch of them trying to get them out of the damn ground. So I don't know what we're going to do next year. But he grew so many tomatoes. Oh, he also grows cucumbers, eggplants. I forgot about them. He grows pickling cues. They grow very quickly, the cucumbers. And also squash, which I don't like. Clint, are you in cherry country, Zebek? Oh, we have cherries too. I would assume cherries would grow. If blueberries can grow, then the cherries could grow. If he can grow blueberries, he should be able to grow everything I'm listing. I cannot think of a single thing he wouldn't be able to grow. Oh, no. He says, no, swamp country. Really? Because we do have cherry farms in South Jersey, and it can be pretty swampy here. I'm surprised the blueberries grow then. I bet you could do cranberries there if you're swampy, because we used to do tons of cranberries. But I'm told that the cranberry yields now are so high with the current plants, they just don't need a lot of cranberry farms. They just don't want them. So there's a place. Zebek, yeah, it all grows here. Cherries grow fine. Oh, okay. The cranberries, White's Bog, where they developed the blueberry, was called White's Bog because it was all cranberry bogs, but they don't grow them anymore because they're just not. It's just not worth it. Cranberry farms down the road, says Zebek. Oh, neat. Yeah, we had tons of them here. We still have a few, but not nearly as many. I wish they'd turned them all into blueberry farms. There is, and peaches. Peaches came back. We did get peaches this year. Just a minute, Joan. I'm rapping. But the one thing they're trying to do here, I don't know if you heard about this. They're trying to grow wasabi stateside, like actual wasabi. But apparently, it's very difficult to grow wasabi, actual wasabi, and have it taste correctly. But they're trying to do it here in South Jersey. They have several, what's the name, greenhouses where they're making the attempt because they have to do it under controlled conditions because they're pretty demanding to get the soil just right and everything. So that could be the big next cash crop. But the big cash crop in South Jersey now apparently is pot. There's a move to turn a lot of the farms down here into pot farms, or at least some of them. I think it's a bad move. There's been some rumors that the pot business ain't what it cracked up to be because they've what's the name? They've put in too many bureaucratic things about pot, and they're making it less and less profitable with everything they add to it. And Clint Miller, dude. Yeah, exactly. So now it's so not profitable. I knew a guy, I don't remember his name, YouTube, but he claimed to have sold pot to many people. And when I asked him, oh man, I guess you're out of business, he laughed and said, oh no, I'm making more money than ever. Because the legalization of pot was a boon for him because now he can't be arrested, really, unless he gets greedy, I guess. And eventually they could arrest him. But because the cops won't waste their time anymore. But the kush that they're growing in the legal farms sucks. And you have to pay way too much money for it. So people are still buying this pot like crazy, apparently. All right. Well, that was an interesting talk about farming. I didn't expect that either. This turned into a chat like Sticks and Hammer would have. He's a big farmer. He's good. He knows the stuff, man. I'm a black thumb when it comes to farming. I only know stuff because my dad does it all the time. He knows everything. Oh my God. He is Mr. Farmer. He's got a tractor, a farm. He does it all. He was farming all this week. I was helping him. He's wrapping up though. He's plowing everything under. And Zebek clank. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, he's plowing everything under. Season's done. But we picked spoon emoji. We picked or he picked so many tomatoes. Like, I can't eat enough tomatoes this time of year. I'm eating tomatoes like crazy, and they're delicious. By the way, great tomato season this year. The last 2 years have been great. 3 years ago, terrible. Man, this season, beautiful tomatoes. Delicious. Oh, another effing ad. Are you kidding? Oh. No. Oh, no. Oh, now I have to wait. I was just about to wrap. Help me, I'm being oppressed. Oh man, how long are these ads? I hope they're less than 30 seconds. Are they playing like a full 30-second ad? Oh my God, I've been going for 3 hours? When did I start? Oh, I did start at 7, right. I'm looking at the time going, oh, it's only been an hour. No, it's been 3 hours. I definitely have to wrap. All right, I'm going to wait for you guys to come back, and then I'm going to wrap. All right. There we go. Zevik. It's weird ads in the live stream. It would be different if they were scheduled. I think there's some way to schedule it, but I have to put them in, I think. And I'm not sure where to schedule them. Oh, at least they are short. Okay, mercifully short. Well, I'm going to wrap it here, fellas. This time, I didn't have to go to the bathroom because I had that intermission. But Joan wants something, and we all know Joan gets what she wants. So final thoughts. We covered farming. We covered Lizzo. We covered the Venice Film Festival. We covered the Book of Clarence. We covered the box office, of course. And of course, we had Kite is now a subscriber. We have Ardent and Stormy getting married. So a lot happened. This was like a massive stream. And I may or may not try to get spun up on Discord. So a massive stream. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Once again, confirmed, Chemung Diner on September 9th, 9 to 2 in Chemung, New Jersey. Out on 206 is the route. Maybe for the last time, because Chemung Diner, Zevik, thanks Tony, got a Paradox to go finish. Enjoy. Thank you for tuning in, Zevik. There's rumors that the Chemung Diner may be sold to, speaking of pot, a CBD place, a pot place, and that the other rumor is they're going to buy out Valensano Winery across the street and down the street and turn that into a giant pot farm. That's the rumor. I don't know how true it is. That would be very sad if true. Anyhow, thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back next week, looks like. Yep, no Sunday show for me yet, although I am going to try to get one. So Chemung Diner, live stream next week, and hopefully jury duty treats me. Wish me luck on jury duty. Wish me luck on getting out of it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.